your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. College basketball coaching changes today. Sean Miller is leaving Xavier to become the new head coach at Texas. Ben McCollum leaves Drake. He's the new head coach at Iowa. Nico Medved leaves Colorado State to be the new head coach at Minnesota. Florida assistant Kevin Hovde is the new head coach at Columbia. Coverage of the women's tournament continues all day on the family of networks. Right now on ESPN, about to tip Oklahoma and Iowa. NC State and Texas pick up wins already today. USC plays Mississippi State at 10 Eastern on ESPN. Trojans guard Juju Watkins fell on her left wrist and rolled her left ankle in the first round. ESPN's Michael Vopel.
She is one of the superstars of this tournament. So we'll find out, just see how she's moving, to probably be able to tell fairly early in that game if she's the Juju we're used to seeing.
Michael Vopel on game night. Mavericks forward Anthony Davis upgraded to questionable for tonight against the Nets. He's been out 6 weeks with a left groin strain in his first game for Dallas.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Tuesday, the NFL Draft is less than a month away. I'll tell you which teams need to trade up so they can address their biggest needs. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right. Woo!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
So am I Matt or am I Paul?
Love you, Matt.
Paul? O'Neill?
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Do so. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Hope you had an awesome weekend. My goodness, we are jam-packed, locked, loaded. Tiger football got 2 commitments. We got practice to recap. Baseball dropped a series at Texas. Bryce Brown is coming up. We got Saints meeting Quinn Ewers again. David Deluchi will be here. We got 3 LSU basketball players in the transfer portal. The Pelicans play tonight. I had to fit that one in. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Bryce Brown from Edna Carr will be here in 12 minutes. Wanted to catch up with Coach Brown. 3 former Edna Carr players currently on the roster at LSU. 2 committed for the class of 2026. Good time to catch up with Bryce Brown and talk about his guys in the pipeline to LSU. We'll do that in 12 minutes from right now. Let me start with baseball. Tigers go on the road. They lose 2 out of 3 at Texas. Massively disappointing to win game 1, to use only 2 pitchers in that game, to have everyone else available. All you need to do is split the next 2 to take a road series against a top 10 team. To have a 5-2 lead in game 2, to blow that lead, come back, regain the lead when Derek Curry hit a 2-run homer to go up 7-6, only to give up that lead, lose the game, never lead at all on Sunday, and drop the series. This is not a victory lap in any way. Last week, I did pick LSU to lose the series for 3 reasons primarily. Number one, it was a sleepy weekend against Missouri, and Missouri is nothing better than a mid-major team masquerading as an SEC squad. There was nothing impressive about what LSU did sweeping Missouri. And in so doing, had major concerns about the bullpen, the walks, the lack of command. We asked it all last week. Who do you trust? Who do you trust to give the ball to go get outs? And you didn't have an answer outside of Cowan and Evans. Lo and behold, still that way. And number 3, it's hard to win on the road. And we saw Tennessee go on the road to Alabama on Thursday, throw up on themselves in the second inning, give up 5 spot, and drop that game. It's hard to win on the road in the conference. It just is. And LSU hadn't had a true road game until this series. And you've got a strength of schedule. What's LSU's strength of schedule? 190, something like that right now? Do you know it offhand, Muse? What LSU's strength? It's like 190. It's ridiculous. Like, you played a laughable pre-conference. So you've been impressive, but you did it against a very weak schedule. So this was going to be your first real test, and you got to do it on the road. You know, the season is, I know, do you have it? Did you find it?
192.
192. So I know it's the lowest strength of schedule in the SEC. I mean, you haven't challenged yourself. You were challenged this weekend on the road against a top 10 team, and you lost the series. So each week reveals more about a team, right? We often say that the season is a 56-game evolution. You go into the season thinking certain things. You play the first month of pre-conference. You learn some things about your team, and then you make adjustments as you see fit going into conference play, and then you continue to evolve as you go forward. Like, this is, I'm not melting after a series loss. It sucks, but you're 6 games into a 30-game marathon. You got 8 more weekends to go. It's a long way, but with every passing weekend, you learn more of your team reveals itself. So, like, I think there's a few things we can definitively say at this point in the season about this team. Number one, I think you'd agree, is that I think Cade Anderson has proven himself as a bona fide number 1. You will have a chance to win any Friday night game in the SEC this year. I'm not saying you're going to win every one. I'm saying Cade Anderson gives you a chance to win any Friday night game. He went on the road, hostile environment, against a good Texas team, and shoved for 6 innings. 2 runs on 7 hits, 8 strikeouts, walked none, bagel 0. Massive. Didn't give them anything, made them earn it. Lo and behold, they put up 2 runs. Gives you a chance to win any Friday. It's a huge advantage going into any weekend when you got a guy like that at the front of the rotation. The other thing I'll tell you, and I think we knew this going in, and it was confirmed this weekend, is you have 2 guys in the bullpen that you trust. Zach Cowan, Kason Evans, nobody else. I think Connor Binge is maybe on the fringe there. Maybe the same for DJ Primo. But you got 2 guys that you trust in any given situation that you can hand the ball to in a leverage spot, and they're going to deliver for you. It's Cowan and Evans. I know there's been a lot of debate about burning Cowan in game 1. This isn't hindsight 2020. I said it at the time. I'll say it again here. I hated it. You were up 6. It's conventional thinking that if you're within 4 runs, obviously, 1 swing can tie it or give another team the lead. When you get outside of 4 runs, you can be a little more judicious. And you're up 6, burning Cowan, up 6. I hated it. I get what he's thinking. You get home with Cowan, you've used 2 arms. Now you have everyone available to try to split the next 2. The problem is you don't trust anybody else that you have available. Jay may think he does, and he knows he's going to have to trust those guys. It's easier for me to say sitting here than it is to be sitting in the dugout and make that call. And you got a chance to win a road game in conference, but you can piece it together with a 6-run cushion. And if you can't get home with a 6-run cushion, you got bigger issues. And look, it bit you. I mean, you had a 5-2 lead in game 2, and you went through a parade of relievers that couldn't get anybody out. Ware faces 1 guy, walks him. Schmidt comes in, gets shelled, was consistently behind in the counts. You have got to have Evans and Cowan for leverage spots. Like, this will put it in perspective. On the weekend, Evans and Cowan, those two guys, combined for 6 2/3 innings pitched, 1 run on 5 hits, 8 strikeouts, no walks. Those two. I know it's a lot of numbers, but they went 6 2/3, 1 run, no walks, 8 strikeouts. Everyone else, it's 8 relievers. Everyone else combined for 4 innings, 7 runs on 9 hits, walked 5, and struck out 1. You don't have anybody else you trust. And the biggest question for this team for the remainder of the season, the biggest question is, can any of these elite, you got a lot of elite arms. You got great arm talent. You got 8 guys that can throw 95 plus. Awesome. Doesn't matter if you don't know where it's going when it leaves their hand. If they can't find guys in this bullpen that can consistently throw strikes and get outs, the ceiling on this season lowers. It's just a fact. How did you win in Omaha in 2023? Oh, Nate Ackenhausen threw 6 innings in the performance of his life. Griffin Herring out of the bullpen, 6 innings of relief, performance of his life. Thatcher Hurd, who was supposed to be a guy at the start of the season, it was slow. By the time he got to the end of the season, was a dude, was on the bump in the championship game for you, in Game 3 of the championship series. You got to have these guys develop. You don't throw dirt on them right now. You're 2 weeks into SEC play. But Nate Yeske and Jay Johnson, they got their work cut out for them, because you've got to be able to identify guys that can help you at the back of games. Because right now, you got 2 guys. That's it. I don't know the answer. Maybe this week they move Jaden Newt. Newt was really good in the midweek last week. Maybe Newt gets an opportunity out of the bullpen this weekend against Mississippi State. I don't know. Maybe Schmidt goes back to the midweek. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. But you got to find guys that can get outs for you at the end of games. The other thing is I think the offenses should prove they're fine against frontline SEC pitching. Sunday was terrible, and you're going to have those days. I think LSU's approach was poor. I get what they were doing. Look, the guy, if you're watching the broadcast, the analyst was the former Texas State coach. He called it from pitch 1. Pitch 1 on Sunday, when Derek Curiel, who's usually very patient, great 2-strike hitter, goes up there and hacks at the first pitch and lines out to left field, it was very clear. Riojas in the game, throw strikes early in the count. They were going to swing early in the count. Well, all that did was allow him easy innings and extended in the game 5 2/3. Texas doesn't have great depth in their bullpen, and you played right into their hands. You didn't need to see it. Sunday sucked, but you went up against their 2 frontline guys. On Friday, 8 runs on 13 hits. On Saturday, 7 runs on 9 hits. You got Harrison out of the game in 4 innings. You chased Spencer after 5. You proved when you faced Duplantier, the reliever on Friday, he went an inning and 2/3, 4 runs, 4 hits. You proved you can hit frontline pitching. I don't know that I doubted that, but you still had to see it. You hit frontline pitching, you're fine there. You got to take advantage of opportunities now. You had Missouri at home, you swept them. Tough road conference series against a top 10 team, you lost it. Well, now you get to come home against a Mississippi State team that's 1-5 in the league. They got swept at home by Texas and lost 2 out of 3 on the road this last weekend against Oklahoma. You got to win this series at home against Mississippi State. You're better than they are. You're at home. Here's an opportunity to get back after dropping that series against Texas. You got to do it this weekend. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, out at the box. Tigers got to find some answers in the bullpen, and you got to get right in a hurry because this is a series you got to win at home. All right, it's After Further Review. Show Open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the Tigers. If you're going to be out at the box, if you're at the Maravich Center watching the ladies play today after 5 o'clock, of course, make sure you got plenty of ice-cold Bud Light. Of course, Buds and Boils, nothing like it. Bud and Bud Light with those mud bugs, great combo this spring. Make sure if you're eating crawfish anywhere, you got plenty of ice-cold Bud Light, the official beer of AFR and the official beer of the LSU Tigers. Okay, quick break. We'll come back. Bryce Brown, head coach at Edna Carr, is going to join us. He's got 3 current former players on the LSU roster and a couple of commits to LSU already. So good time to bring Bryce Brown on the show. We'll do it next here on AFR.
After Further Review.
Y'all, we are into springtime. It is almost pool season. If you are dreaming about that pool, that outdoor kitchen, a way to enjoy your outdoor space, to build the outdoor oasis at your house, you need Duplessis Builders. DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net. See, when it comes to Duplessis Builders, with Derek Duplessis, it's all about a standard. Listen, Derek's local, from Ascension Parish, LSU grad. We've talked about the NIL deals, did one with Harlem Berry, has one with Jacob Myers right now on the baseball team, a Santa Ma guy, loves the Tigers, loves supporting the home team. But most importantly, when it comes to building you a pool, he'll build you a beautiful pool, right? Look at any pool builder's Instagram, you'll see beautiful pictures. But the question is, will it last? You know what they say about a home, like the bones. What's the structure like? Well, Duplessis, they stand behind their work with a 10-year workmanship warranty. You want to go interview pool companies? Cool. Ask everybody else why they don't offer a 10-year workmanship warranty. DuplessisBuilders.net.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
We've had great success with Bryce Brown's players from Edna Carr. So adding another quality player to that position that's from the state of Louisiana, that didn't seem to be a hard one for me to solve.
That was Brian Kelly on Saturday. Of course, you mentioned Bryce Brown, the head coach at Edna Carr, who's won 5 state championships during his tenure there. It's been a stellar run, and Edna Carr has been a real pipeline of talent to the LSU program as well. Who Brian Kelly was referring to right there is Destin Hill, of course, an Edna Carr player who went to Florida State and is now at LSU. And Bryce Brown's good enough to join us for a couple of minutes. Coach, we appreciate it. How are you?
Thanks for having me on. Hope y'all doing good. Doing good today. That rain stopped and looked like we could have a little practice today. All right.
Is spring balls cranked up there in NOLA?
No, we got weights and we got a little conditioning test today. So I don't know how fired up they are about that, but I'm a little fired up about
it. As a coach, you got to be. That's the kind of thing that you get pumped about. Hey, get out and run some 110s now. Glad those days are over. And let me start, Coach, if I could, with what Brian Kelly mentioned there. It's Destin Hill, a guy that some may remember from his time at Carr, but he took a long journey here to LSU. Brian Kelly talk about Destin Hill's physicality. That was kind of the thing that he punctuated. What can you tell us about Destin Hill, the football player?
I thought BK did a good job of, especially, saying how physical of a player he is. He's about 6'1.5", scheme, but he does have that skill set to where I think when he does practice without the brace after spring ball, I think you'll see an even more fluid athlete out there. I think it's quite remarkable that he's playing with that brace on and able to make the plays that he's making out there. But a good physical player in the run game. He's going to be one of the smarter guys too. He's going to be able to pick up the system pretty quickly.
It's interesting too because the last Saturday when I was out there, he was running with the ones when they were doing short yardage. It was really an eye on that physical blocking component. Do you think that's his easiest path to the field in year one?
I think so. I think each player, especially when you're playing wide out, they're going to bring their own specific skill set to the game. One of those skill sets for Destin is his physical nature. But I hope he gets to get in that end zone a little bit too. And that's all about productivity and knowing the offense and especially establishing a run game that Coach Kelly has been preaching about this spring and is bringing the physical presence and putting a hat on the hat and helping Caden, spring a lot of those long runs where wideouts blocking downfield.
Yeah. One of the reasons why it might be hard for someone like Destin or any of the new guys, you got another young guy in Teron Francis who's on campus right now, to find playing time because there's so many veterans. One of them's Aaron Anderson, is now at LSU. When you look at Aaron Anderson's path, right, from 5-star to Bama to LSU, where wasn't super impactful year one, but now led the team in receiving a year ago and now poised for a massive final season. How would you sort of characterize Aaron's journey to this point if I asked you, go back to what it was like during his recruitment and then where he is now?
I thought, he's been very patient, and I think that's probably the right word to use for him. Coach Saban loved him at Alabama, but, he wanted to come closer to home. And when Coach Kelly first got the job, he did a good job of following up, even though it turned over so quick. Relationships mean a lot in this state, and I thought it was clear cut that he was going to return back home after he expressed wanting to get closer to home from Alabama. But him being very patient and getting healthy has been key for him as well. I think this is the healthiest he's been. He's looked outstanding at practice. I actually was in Baton Rouge yesterday watching him do a little extra work, and he looks very fluid. He looks happy. The offense is very explosive. When you have one of the best quarterbacks in the country, he's making good plays out there. But I think, him being healthy and being patient has been the key two words for him. And he has to keep those two, especially with a fully loaded room. Some games is going to be this wide out. Some games is going to be that wide out. I think that the biggest stat is going to be, how many wins the Tigers put up, and I think he's all on board with, trying to compete for a national title.
Bryce Brown is our guest, head coach at Edna Carr. It's interesting. So you talk about the depth there. Another piece is Teron Francis, right? The freshman, he's an early enrollee. Looks good in that 83 running around out there. It'll be interesting to see what kind of role he may be able to fill as a true freshman in a very talented receiving room. But what is LSU getting? Like, for the fans who maybe haven't seen Teron Francis yet, who might be listening, what is LSU getting in freshman receiver Teron Francis?
An explosive playmaker. He's made some good explosive plays at a few other practices I've been at. He's going to be a Tiger that you want to remember his name because, he's so explosive when he has the ball in his hand, and he's learning from a good group of veteran guys, how to move throughout college and prepare, take care of his body, attack the weight room. So he's learning from some good guys, not only just Aaron or destined from Carr, but he's learning from Varian and Davion, especially, all those guys, they're pouring so much into him and Chris. And, just we're very appreciative of, the maturation process that he's shown through the 3 months since he's been at LSU.
He's they call him man-child. You can see why when he's running around out there, man. He looks good in the uniform. Bryce Brown's with us. Hey, why, Coach? I want to talk about the current commits here in a second, but why do you think that Edna Carr has become such a just a very fruitful pipeline for this LSU program?
I think if you go back in our years past, we've sent a lot of guys to a lot of places, and a lot of those guys come back and tell us, they wish they stayed home, and been able to, especially for their families, to see them play and their old park ball coaches and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's something that's not talked about a lot in recruiting. Having that support system around, so much is caught on NIL and all of those things, but people matter and relationships matter and family matters still in recruiting. And I think LSU has done a good job of selling that home to all of the players that they're recruiting and the future players that who are committed to them right now on exactly that. Being able to stay home, play for your state, and all of that stuff. Coach Wilson has done a great job with partnership with Coach Kelly too, who's very instrumental in the recruitment of Richard and Aiden. And I think that can't go without mentioning the family, sense of family that they represent or sell when they're talking about the brand of LSU, not just the football.
You mentioned Coach Frank, and I think everybody knows Coach Frank's role and how integral he is in New Orleans. But it's interesting to hear you talk about Coach Kelly. You look, obviously, he's worn out a path, I'm certain, from Baton Rouge to Edna Carr. What's been your interactions with and your impressions of getting to know Brian Kelly these last several years as a coach and as a recruiter?
I think, my relationship with him, it's not just head coach to head coach. And I think Coach Kelly is a good friend. And, he's very, very available. He's very authentic when you speak to him. Anytime you have a question or if he wants to holler at you about anything, he picks up the phone and gives you a call. We had a champions lunch with all the state championship coaches last week, and he was great, and he was open, he was honest, he was straightforward, and then got a chance to listen to him at the clinic. And he's always been available to us. He's visited here, and whenever he has the chance, head coaches are so restricted in how much they come out, but when he's able to come out, he comes here, and the players love him, and he plays a big part in the recruiting along with Coach Frank, because when you hear it from the head coach, that still means something, especially how much they value the relationship or the partnership between Carr and LSU. And I think he's done a great job of expressing that, and we look forward to the future Tigers that's going to be there, especially with Richard and Aiden. They're excited, but we got to hold on to him for a couple of months and try to repeat this thing, and then he can have it.
Yeah.
But until then, we just appreciate the availability that LSU has brought to our program.
Got a couple more for you, Coach. And Bryce Brown from Edna Carr is our guest. You mentioned Richard and Aiden. That, of course, is Richard Anderson and Aiden Hall, two commitments currently at LSU or Edna Carr prospects. You and I kind of texted offline about Richard Anderson, primarily because of the Kyle Williams component of it all and Bo Davis leaving. Can you kind of just walk us through how Bo leaving might affect Richard's recruitment and just your early impressions of Kyle Williams and the job that he's done so far, not only just in conversation, but now since they've started spring, you get to sort of observe?
I tell you what, just like I said last week, I was very impressed with meeting Kyle for the first time last week, and I went to the practice this past Saturday, and, we ran into each other and spoke again. We met our defensive line coach and our defensive coordinator. I tell you what, when you talk about knowledge of the game and expressing, why you're doing certain things, he can teach that. And you can see it with the defense at LSU right now, they're playing more of a attack style and more up the field, not down the line as much. And I think, that's what really caught Rich's attention is the coaching style, the coaching technique. It's not just about the guys behind you and covering up for linebackers so they can make plays. They want the D-line to make plays as well. And that's been the biggest eye-opener for Richard and his reestablishing that commitment to LSU because, the schemes fit him so well. But Kyle has been great. He's a family guy. He's very relatable. He knows the situation because he was a high school coach. And when you think about college coaches versus high school coaches, a lot of the high school coaches, they see it, they're dealing with a lot of things off the field, and Kyle understands that part, and he understands, what Richard goals is and stuff like that. And they hit it off from day one. But I think it's always good having a pro teaching a future pro, and I think, Richard has the upside of that.
I know a lot of LSU fans are going to be excited to hear that. It's kind of a big exhale. Richard Anderson's number one defensive tackle in the country. He's down in New Orleans. It certainly feels like a must for LSU. And then if I could, Coach, get a thought on Aiden Hall as well at the safety position.
Yeah, and Aiden, he's been on campus. He went last week. I think both guys are return back after LSU comes off of spring break. I don't know if they'll go for the spring finale with the practice, but I think they'll go for, a couple of practices just to see them get after it. But Aiden has done, well at recruiting. Handling the recruiting. When you have Texas and Florida and Texas A&M and Alabama knocking at your door, it's always good to go flirt with the neighbor. But when you got something good at home, I think he's realized that. Both of those guys are solidified their commitment to LSU and Coach Kelly and his staff. And, the Blake and his staff has done a great job of recruiting both of these guys, with Frank and BK as well. But, Blake has done a good job of making himself available and talking scheme and talking ball. And, it's been refreshing. It's been different, but I tell you what, it's not just been about NIL and how much you can give me. It's all about the scheme and how they could develop these players into the future, NFL pros that we all think they're going to be. And I think that's the biggest part in recruitment, not about, just the dollars that they can give, but, also the development that they're going to have. And I think that's been the biggest part for both Richard and Aiden. We haven't even gotten that far with LSU yet, but I think, they having that relationship with LSU is good enough to trust that they'll take care of, their own.
Ed Nakar built a pretty populous pipeline to Baton Rouge, and that relationship's been really good, and Bryce Brown's been a massive part of that. Coach, we appreciate the time. We're pulling for you and your guys' fault, except, of course, when you play the Bears. But you know that by now, right?
I ran into Coach Fuller this week, and I said, man, you gotta take it easy on me this year, man. And there's been some great games with Catholic, and we love playing those guys. Very, very competitive.
Well, it's great for high school football in the state when you get the best teams in the state to play. So it's always entertaining. Coach, we appreciate a couple of minutes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure. Bryce Brown, head coach there at Ed Nakar. This guy's won 5 state championships already. He's got it rolling down there, man. And they have been very good to LSU and Coach Frank. And I wanted to ask him specifically about Brian Kelly because it's an illustration of how much the head coach can matter in recruitment. And clearly Brian Kelly's prioritized Ed Nakar. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. Love telling you about Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com, because remember, at Shaw Bills, they're always going to sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices. They'll treat you like family, so they'll keep you coming back year after year after year. Always encourage you to go to the website. You can shop tires on the website. You can schedule service on the website. You can chat with an associate. There's a little chat box there at the bottom right-hand corner. You tap that. You choose the location nearest you, and in seconds you're chatting with a Shaw Bills associate to help get you scheduled or whatever questions you may need answered. It's Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. I love they shared a picture on social media today from back in the 1960s. service and dedication to the communities for more than 50, nearly 60 years now. It's Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, we keep you rolling. Okay, y'all, let me knock out a quick break, all right? Come back. 3 basketball players have already hit the transfer portal. We'll get to that here in about a dozen minutes. When we come back, go around the SEC, and the LSU ladies are getting set for their round of 32 game at the Maravich Center coming up here in about 90 minutes. Give you a little thumbnail preview of the Tigers and Florida State. We're glad you're here. It's AFR.
After further review.
AFR is brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness as we start this new week. Maybe this is the week when you finally take my advice. You finally pick up the phone. You finally log on to the website, yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com, and learn more about the services that Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has to offer. I know we joke, we laugh at the name or the logo, and it's funny and all that stuff, but it's all about bringing levity to a conversation a lot of guys are uncomfortable having. But it's important to have these conversations. Listen, yes, they do ED treatment. Maybe you know you have ED, and if you do, they can help. Yes, they have the little blue pill, but they also have many different forms of ED treatment. But the overwhelming majority of their practice is actually serving people with hormone replacement therapy. A simple blood test can let you know if you're a candidate, and you will have your results before you leave the office. So log on, schedule that consultation, take control of your vitality. Log on, yourgoodwood.com.
You work hard every day to pursue a life you love. You put in the time, and it shows. You're forging ahead, chasing a dream, creating something better for the ones you love. You're building your own life. So why not build your own tractor? With John Deere tractors and attachments for almost any need, the Sunshine team can help you do just that. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Three to shoot. 2, 1. Will they get off a shot? They will not.
The horn sounds, the ball game is over, and an emphatic LSU win over San Diego State. The final score, LSU 103, San Diego State 48.
Patrick Wright on the call, LSU Sports Radio Network. That was a record-setting performance for the LSU women on Saturday night against San Diego State. The 103 points, the most points scored in an NCAA tournament game, besting the 102 they scored in the national championship game against Iowa 2 years ago. So an emphatic win against a dramatically inferior and outmatched opponent. But most importantly, Kim Mulkey took that final week of the season and said, you know what? We're not so much worried about Ole Miss. We're not so much worried about the SEC tournament. We are so much worried about making sure we're healthy for the NCAA tournament, for the big dance, for the one that matters. So they sat Flaugier, they sat Anissa Morrow, and here you go. Now you're healthy. You're ready to go. Dominant performance over San Diego State. And now Kim Mulkey talked about her team right now. This is the time of the year when they wanted to be playing their best, and they are.
I hope so. I thought our bench yesterday was special. And I don't just mean Gilbert, because that's who you think of when you think of our bench, but she was 0 for 9. It was the things they did from the scouting report. If it was switching on a certain staggered screen, they listened and they did things. I thought we played with a lot of excitement, and part of that, well, probably all of it is because it's the NCAA playoffs, but it was having Flaugier back out there who just brings a joyfulness about her that spreads to everybody else. And if you can play like that, you never know what can happen.
So the Tigers now advance, coming up here at 5 o'clock Central, so an hour and 20 minutes from right now. The Tigers will take on Florida State in the 3-6 matchup over at the Maravich Center. Kim Mulkey kind of gave a little bit of what to expect against the Seminoles.
I would expect you're going to see a lot of scoring, and hopefully the team that plays just a little bit of defense wins, because I'm a defensive coach. So you got a lot of powerful players on both teams. They can all score the ball, and what are they, 3rd in the country in scoring, and we're like 6th. That's a lot of shots.
So LSU is currently a 10.5-point favorite in this ball game. ESPN Analytics gives LSU an 80% chance, actually about 80.6, so nearly 81% chance of winning this game over Florida State. And you are talking about two teams that are pretty proficient offensively, but a game that LSU at home should very well go out and win against number 22 Florida State, which is the 6th seed in this regional. So see if the Tigers can pull off the win, advance to the round of 16. They'll need a big offensive day and see if they can get some stops up and down the floor. But having a Flaugier and Anissa both healthy gives LSU its best chance, obviously. So that game will tip while we're still on the air. We'll keep you up to date as we move throughout. Again, a 5 o'clock tip for LSU and Florida State over there at the Maravich Center. All right, it is After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020. Did you do it? Did you do it? Told y'all last week I'd be in here with the tournament games on, the little tiny boxes up in the corner with all the scores rolling. Could you keep up? Could you see it? I mean, I got superhuman vision after I had LASIK from Dr. Blake Williamson over at the Williamson Eye Center. He can do it for you as well. Tell you, if you're worried about cost, don't. They've got tons of options for how you can pay for it. And Dr. Blake always says, don't worry about that. They will find a manner and a means to be able to get you the refractive procedure you need. Don't let finances be an impediment. They have options for you to make sure you get what you need. Give yourself the gift of sight. If you're scared of the laser, don't worry. I was too. I learned LASIK is the safest elective procedure in the history of mankind, statistically. Just go for that consultation. Ditch the contacts and glasses forever. You can trust the best. Trust Dr. Blake Williamson at the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Texas Longhorns.
Well, just about an hour after reports came out that LSU had fired Rodney Terry, reports came that they had hired Sean Miller. What a Sunday it was. Cedric Golden of the Austin American-Statesman had it first. Miller has been a D1 head coach since 2004, 2 different stints at Xavier. He was also at Arizona from 2009 to 2021. 713 career winning percentage. He's been to the NCAA tournament 13 times in his 20 years as a head coach. 8 trips to the Sweet 16, 4 trips to the Elite 8. Sean Miller, reportedly the next head men's basketball coach at Texas.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
3-star running back JaMychal Jones has committed to Ole Miss. He's the number 35 prospect in the 2026 class that's committed now to Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. He's a 3-star, but he's the 23rd prospect out of the state of Alabama. Has more than 30 offers, including some big ones like Southern Cal, Penn State, Michigan, and Miami. He's the 3rd commit for Ole Miss's 2026 class.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Gamecocks got a commitment from the state's top recruit, offensive lineman Zion Giles. He's out of Carver's Bay. Picked the Gamecocks' number 1 player in South Carolina, the number 3 interior offensive lineman, the number 40 overall prospect at any position. He picked South Carolina over Clemson, Georgia, Florida State, Bama, Florida, Tennessee, South Carolina, some big boys. 6'4", 290-pounder, the number 6 commit for the Gamecocks for 2026.
Texas A&M!
Jonathan Hatton, running back for 2026, has committed to Texas A&M over Oklahoma. Also had offers from Ohio State, Tennessee, Bama, Auburn, Florida, the usual suspects. He was a one-time Oklahoma commit, but now will reportedly head to College Station. 6', 205-pounder, number 117 overall, the 8th best running back in the class of 2026.
The Florida Gators.
In one that all college football fans should rejoice over, Florida's added Furman to its non-conference schedule for 2028. Sure to be a dandy. Can't wait for it. My only hope is before then we get these cockamamie schedule thing worked out and we ditch these stupid FCS games forever. Anyway, you might remember Billy Napier. You probably don't remember this because why would you? But Napier played at Furman. He's a letter winner at Furman, so he gets his alma mater there on the he was a starting quarterback for the Paladins. So he gets his alma mater on the schedule, gets some money and an ass kick, and hopefully this game never is played. But they played 9 times dating back to 1922, the last meeting coming in 2011. Florida was actually pretty awful. Furman's actually beaten Florida twice in their history. There you have it. That is Around the SEC. Monday shows brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows. Beautiful entry doors. Hardy plank vinyl siding. Oh, yeah, they do shutters as well. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Hunt just sent a text in the Louisiana Sports.net group chat. Otter locks are live. So Otter's post. He's got an NIT game because, of course, he does, right? I mean, wouldn't Dot have an wouldn't he have an NIT game?
He's got to bet something tonight.
He's got an NIT game and an NBA game. Is this the NIT finals? I have no idea.
No, can't be yet, right?
I don't know.
I'll look it up.
You're asking me. You think I've watched a minute or plan to watch a minute of the NIT? That's
no,
why we got
no,
the
I
Otter.
don't. Yeah.
With his media room and just a slew of televisions. What? Yeah.
Quarterfinals.
Okay, so not even close.
No, they got a ways to go.
Good. Yeah. Okay, great. Well, anyway, 2 plays. It's live now at LouisianaSports.net. If you want to get Otter locks, get in on those lines now before they move. It's up live, always free, LouisianaSports.net. Okay, y'all. When I got a quick break, come back. 3 LSU men's basketball players have hit the transfer portal, and I think many more to come. We'll talk about that here in just a smidge. And also the Saints have signed a free agent. We'll get to that as well. It's AFR.
AFR.
Y'all, it is turnaround season. You know that. If you work in the petrochemical refinery market, turnaround season, roughly March to October. So if you got that turnaround coming, know you're going to have that turnaround coming. I want you to remember the Advanced Turnaround Group. It's part of Action Industries. Action Industries, been around since 1982, proud partner of LSU Athletics. They're awesome. A locally owned company with great local relationships, but the Advanced Turnaround Group is their turnaround division with its own separate set of managers, its own separate set of resources, people who are proficient in turnaround work. The Advanced Turnaround Group. You can log on, Action, INDINC.com, Action Industries Incorporated, so Action, INDINC.com. You can learn more about Action Industries and the Advanced Turnaround Group. Got a turnaround coming up? Let the Advanced Turnaround Group bid your job over at Action Industries.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Wrapping up hour number one. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Saints have re-signed Ugo Amadi, safety and special teamer. But sort of the bigger news, I suppose, a little breaking here from Ian Rappaport. Saints have signed former Titans guard Dylan Radins to a one-year contract. Radins did recently visit the Seahawks, but lands in New Orleans. That according again to Ian Rappaport. If you remember last week, it was Thursday when we talked about Dylan Radins. We had Ross Jackson here, and Ross recalled everything about Radins from North Dakota State, gushed over the practice film that he watched from him 4 years ago when he was a second-round pick of the Tennessee Titans. I reminded Ross that's why he does his job and I do mine, because he gets really geeked to watch 4-year-old film of FCS offensive linemen from North Dakota State and the off chance that they might land in New Orleans 4 years later on a free agent deal. But lo and behold, here we are. That's why you listen to and read Ross Jackson. So I like it a lot. Listen, when you look at the Saints offensive line, there's one spot that was up for grabs, right? Left guard. Lucas Patrick kind of had become that guy a year ago, but he had been injured, so you had this revolving door. Lucas Patrick's leaving in free agency. You bring in Dylan Radins, a young guy. Like, this is the type of signing. We haven't seen the terms yet of this deal, so I want to see the terms of it, but this is the type of signing that you love. A young veteran, still in his physical prime, that's affordable. Gives you a younger player, but an experienced player that's affordable. That's the type of signing the New Orleans Saints need to be making. So I like it a lot. Dylan Radins, I think that's the kind of player you need to sign. Brandon Cooks on a 2-year, $13 million deal, who's 31 years old, who is effectively does the exact same thing Rashid Shaheed does, but he's on a decline in his career, back-to-back seasons of declining production. Like, that doesn't make a lick of sense to me. So this I like a lot. Again, if you want our full breakdown on that, it's up at the After Further Review YouTube channel. Just search AFR Saints on YouTube or podcast. If you ever want our Saints coverage, just go AFR Saints on YouTube or podcast. You want LSU coverage, AFR LSU on YouTube or podcast. speaking of LSU, 3 LSU basketball players have hit the portal today. Tyrell Ward, with the portal opening today, Tyrell Ward's no surprise. You might remember Tyrell Ward announced like literally minutes before the season opener back in November that he was hitting the transfer portal. So that's just no surprise at all. Corey Chest, redshirt freshman, also announced this morning he's entering the portal, and sophomore guard Mike Williams is leaving the program as well. So 3 LSU Tigers hitting the transfer portal, and they are so far from being done. I'm going to tell you today really the same thing that I told you when Bryce Underwood flipped from LSU. I said, remember the time, said as much as this sucks, talk to me in a month. Because Underwood's gone, and Jakeem Stewart's gone, and Cade Phillips is gone, but you're going to take all this money and you're going to dump it into this portal class, so let's see what you come up with. And lo and behold, a month later, it was really good, right? So I'm going to say the same thing now. LSU, the basketball roster for LSU this year, they spent $1.8 million on it. Vanderbilt, middle of the pack team in the SEC, spent $5 million. You can ask the question if Matt McMahon's a guy or not, and I'm not telling you he is. But I don't think we can definitively say he isn't, because he has not had a roster capable of competing in the deepest league in the history of college basketball. Look at 7 teams in the Sweet 16, y'all. Come on. So you're going to have many, many more guys enter the portal, by the way. They are far from done. And when you go 3-15, there ain't many guys you're aching to hold on to. You know what I mean? But talk to me in about 30 days. If they go spend, we'll see what this roster looks like. And then the excuse making's over. It's AFR.
AFR.
Eric and I went to Supper Club last night. Remember, they're not open on Sundays typically, but a great event that they did last night. They opened up specially on Sunday last night for the tastemakers over with the Fort Cancer Program and for benefiting the American Cancer Society. So 25% of every dollar spent went to Fort Cancer for the American Cancer Society. So a great cause and a great night to do it. So Eric and I went with some friends last night to Supper Club, and it was awesome. Had the veal parm that I tell you about all the time. We had the burnt ends for an appetizer. Erica had lobster, great glass of wine, cocktails. I mean, whatever experience you want to have, I say it to people all the time. You think, I don't know if I can afford Supper Club. I say, listen, you want to go to Supper Club and pay with the same you would at any other fine dining restaurant you can. You want to have the once-in-a-lifetime experience? Oh, they got that for you. But either way, you're going to have the best experience at Supper Club.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, Know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Coaching news today. Xavier coach Sean Miller will be the new head coach at Texas. Colorado State coach Nico Medved, the new head coach at Minnesota. Drake's Ben McCollum is the new head coach at Iowa. And Florida assistant Kevin Hovde is the new head coach at Columbia. He'll stay with the Gators for their tournament run. Second round of the women's NCAA tournament wrapping up today with full coverage on the family of networks. At the half right now on ESPN, Oklahoma leads Iowa 38-27. Earlier today, NC State advances to the Sweet 16.
Far side pass and a three for Isaiah James. My goodness.
Beautiful skip pass by Sanaya Rivers, her 9th assist on the ball game, and Isaiah James is just shooting the ball like she's in practice in the gym by herself.
Wes Durham and Angela Taylor on ESPN. The Wolfpack beats Michigan State 83-49. Texas also a second-round winner today.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Tuesday, the NFL Draft is less than a month away. I'll tell you which teams need to trade up so they can address their biggest needs. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride! Go!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Shut up, kid! Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Former Tiger Southpaw, Chris DeMui. Old DeMui. Hey, Muse, where did DeMui go to high school? Do you remember?
He went to Catholic High School.
Oh, Cali High!
He did. That's where he went.
Another Bear coming on the show. Looking forward to that. Want to talk to DeMui about, look, that's a guy that filled a lot of roles in his time at LSU as a lefty reliever, as a starter, versatile piece. And this LSU team in desperate need of that. So I want to delve into some of the nuance there with Demouy. David Deluchi will be here. Demouy, Dellucci, and Demouy, and Dellucci, and Moscona. Yeah? Yeah? Yeah?
Yeah. Hey, yeah.
Hey.
I thought you were going to ask where Dellucci went to high school, but never mind.
Oh, where did Dellucci go to high school?
He went to Catholic High School.
Oh, Cali High!
Hey.
How about that? We got a Moscona, and a Demouy, and a Dellucci, and a Calicat.
Mamma mia.
We did have Bryce Brown. In fairness, in the name of equal time, we did have Bryce Brown on last hour.
On such a heavy Catholic High show today.
Well, Bryce Brown and the Carr team did, in fact, beat Catholic High in the state semifinals this last year in football. Yeah. Missed PAT did us in, man. I was nice to him. I was cordial.
You were?
Cordial. Get him back, though.
There you go.
Watch your back, Bryce Brown.
It's always next year, right?
This year.
Well, this year. Well, but I mean, it's not fall yet.
This year.
All right.
Let's go. Couple of interesting notes on Monday about the New Orleans Saints and their potential pursuit of quarterbacks in next month's draft. Albert Breer in his MMQB had like this tiny little throwaway line in this giant section of MMQB about Cam Ward and his pro day and everything. He had this one tiny little throwaway line about the New Orleans Saints brass going to have dinner tonight with Quinn Ewers. Now, they didn't say where that dinner is going to take place. Like, are they flying to Austin? Is he in Florida? Don't know. But the Saints Monday, are they meeting in New Orleans? Don't know. But Breer reported that the Saints are going to have dinner Monday night with Quinn Ewers. Now, remember, previously, we've seen mock drafts that have had Ewers mocked to the Saints. The Saints visited with Ewers prior at Combine. So there is some interest. Also of note today, I'm going to take each of these one at a time, but also of note, Nick Underhill over at NewOrleans.football reported that the Saints are sending pretty much everyone to Miami for Pro Day, which is today. And he noted Jeff Ireland and Kellen Moore among those that the Saints are sending to Miami for Pro Day. Now, it is worth noting, yes, Cam Ward is the presumptive number one pick in the draft. He's certainly the presumed top quarterback in this year's draft. But Miami has a lot of depth on their roster, and there's a lot of guys who could end up wearing the black and gold from Coral Gables. So, yes, the focus naturally is going to be on Cam Ward. But there's a very real possibility with the depth of talent that Mario Cristobal has accumulated there, from Cam Ward even to a guy like Restrepo, the receiver. I mean, there's so many options for New Orleans should they go that way. But Ward is the one everyone's obviously going to focus on. So if I take each of those briefly, we have already talked about Quinn Ewers, but I'm going to reiterate my point on this. If the New Orleans Saints had the option to draft Quinn Ewers in day 3, even an early day 3 pick, like a round 4 pick, I'm 100% on board with it. It would be hypocritical of me to sit here today and bemoan the New Orleans Saints drafting a quarterback when I have said they need to draft a quarterback every year. If you're not going to invest a first-round draft pick in a quarterback, like making one of the top guys in the draft your franchise, like taking that swing, then you've got to find a way to get lucky, like Russ in Seattle as a 3, Dak in Dallas with a 4, Cousins in Washington with a 5, Brady was a 6, Purdy was a 7. Now, I'm not saying that's common, and I'm not saying you're going to hit. But my point is, it's like going to the nickel slots, and you just keep feeding that thing. You miss, okay. You miss on a 5. You miss on 5s all the time. You took Matt Tennant as a 5th-round pick. He never played it down for you. And, you keep feeding the penny slots because if you hit, boom, you got that jackpot, and your payoff is massive. So you got to keep taking quarterbacks. Now, I want to be clear also, because every time I say this, everyone's like, man, Rattler. I'm not giving up on Spencer Rattler. But if you draft Quinn Ewers with an early day 3 pick, comes in, competes, beats out Rattler, great. And if not, even better, Rattler's good. And then you discard Quinn Ewers, whatever. I mean, you've done it back-to-back years. Used a 4 on Haener, then a 5 on Rattler. So keep taking it until one hits. And I like Quinn Ewers. He's got the size, 6'2", 210, good arm strength, can make all the throws. He's a very experienced college football quarterback, thrown for over 9,000 yards and 68 touchdowns. He is tough. Quinn Ewers played. We learned last week, or a couple weeks ago, that Quinn Ewers played this season with a torn oblique. Can you imagine the torque trying to throw a football with a torn oblique? One of those years with Drew Brees, I remember. Everyone was like, man, what happened to Drew Brees? He stunk this year. Learned out later, he had a torn oblique. Apparently, it's hard to rotate your body with a torn oblique. It's your love handle if you're not familiar. So he's tough as hell. He handled the Arch Manning situation brilliantly. Was never a distraction with the organization. And, by the way, you always wonder how guys would handle professional life and when they get money. He got money as a 17-year-old. He reclassified, went to Ohio State early, made $1 million, boom, just like that to help his family. Transferred to Texas, got paid again. Dude's got money. You don't worry about that component of it as well. The Johnny Manziel of it all. What happens when you give that guy money? Then again, Johnny Manziel had money in college too. Point is, Ewers checks a lot of boxes. I'm not saying he's a slam dunk no-brainer. That's what I'm saying. As a day 3, I'm good with it. Cam Ward would be awesome. I just don't know, like, if using a day 3 pick on Quinn Ewers is like feeding the nickel slot, Cam Ward is like going to the high limit table and playing blackjack. Man, I just don't know that the Saints can afford the $200 a hand table. You know what I mean? That's what it would cost to draft Cam Ward. Now, if you hit, totally worth it. But if you bust, it sets you back tremendously. For context, when the Panthers went from 9-1 to take Bryce Young, they did a pick swap that year, gave up the following year's 1, 2 2s, and DJ Moore. That is a hefty price, especially when you look at the fact that Bryce Young hasn't worked out. If you hit, of course it's worth it. But that's where you balance the risk versus the reward. And the risk of busting isn't worth it. Look at, and by the way, I could even see a scenario where, let's say hypothetically, you don't have to go up from 9-1. Like, let's say Cam Ward slips a little. Like, let's say Tennessee says, you know what, we want Travis Hunter. And let's say Abdul Carter goes 2. And so the Giants are sitting there at 3. And they don't take a quarterback. Or they're entertaining moving back because they got a lot of needs as well. So you want to go up to 3. Like San Francisco went from 12-3 for Trey Lance. They gave up 3 1s and a 4. They did a pick swap for that year's first and each of the next 2 years' first-round draft picks and a 4. You willing to give up 3 straight years of first-round picks or your next 2 years of first-round picks to take Cam Ward? I'm not. For a Saints team that needs everything and not just better players, but better players on rookie contracts so it's more affordable, it's hard to justify moving up in this year's draft. Now, we all know the Saints' MO. That's what they do. They ain't trading back. I mean, everyone who says, trade back. No. I mean, yes, I would love to see them do that and recoup assets, but Mickey Loomis has literally never traded back. So if he's not going to trade back, the only way he'll go, as we know, is up. It's not worth it. Not in round 1. Not for a guy that feels very much like a risk. A smaller quarterback who doesn't feel like the no-doubter, the Peyton Manning, the Joe Burrow, the guy at the top of the draft that is the undeniable number 1 guy, can't-miss prospect type dude. Which there really is no such thing, but not this year. You want to take a flyer on day 3? I'm with it. You want to trade up into the top 2-3 picks to take Cam Ward? I can't get there. Not this year. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. We're brought to you by our friends over at Parish Restoration. Hey, look, we had some awful weather come through today. You know that. If you had water intrusion, Parish Restoration can help. If you have mold, think you might, Parish Restoration. Kill mold, remove odor. Your residential building, if it's your home, if it's a commercial building, your office building, churches, schools. Maybe you got a bunch of flu going around, a bunch of people sick in the office. No worries. Let Parish Restoration come in. They'll spray their patented non-toxic dry fog. Bada bing, bada bang, bada boom. It'll knock out all the pathogens down to the spores. So you are in a clean, smelling, sanitized building. It's Parish Restoration. Learn more. ParishRestoration.com. That's ParishRestoration.com. Okay, y'all, it's After Further Review. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows. Tiger Baseball took it on the chin this weekend. They lose 2 out of 3 at Texas, and the bullpen really was the culprit, certainly in Game 2. So how did they get it straight? Former Tiger reliever Chris DeMui is going to jump aboard with us next. We'll talk about it. Stay here on AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by the Watermark and the Renaissance. Watermark Downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Watermark, of course, is Baton Rouge's premier hotel property. The old Louisiana National Bank building in downtown Baton Rouge. Gorgeous, man. I would highly recommend if you're downtown Baton Rouge, maybe just walking around. Maybe you got, I don't know, lunch on 3rd Street or something like that, or you're at an office building. I would recommend highly just popping into the Watermark. Maybe you got a business meeting downtown. Recommend going to eat at the Gregory. Or if you want something casual, Milford's on 3rd. You can access Milford's on 3rd, which is a sandwich shop, from 3rd Street or through the hotel lobby as well. So there's 2 dining options. Maybe you just want to pop in and have a glass of wine or a cocktail. Awesome. All the natural light in the lobby. You can look out on the pedestrian traffic, the foot traffic there on 3rd Street in downtown Baton Rouge. It's such a cool place. If you've never been to the Watermark, you got to do it. Great place to host your next event as well. So give my friends over at the Watermark Hotel a call. It's the Watermark, Baton Rouge.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain.
After Further Review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
It's good offense with Texas, old position players that have a ton of college at bats, and you know, we kind of, that dangerous combo of walks and extra base hits hurt us last night. I think there's guys in that game that will be better as we go. Just had a tough go of it last night.
Jay Johnson, that was before Sunday's Game 3. The Tigers, of course, would lose the rubber match of the series. Chris DeMui, former Tiger reliever, good enough to join us. Former Cali Bear as well. We're loaded up with Bears today, DeMui. You, me, Dellucci next hour. It's a good day to be a Bear. How are you?
Doing good, Scone. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing awesome. So you watched the series this weekend, and your big takeaway from the pitching staff is what?
They need to find a bullpen. That's my big takeaway. It's early, right? So they have, everybody likes to hit the panic button. They have plenty of time. And look, you sweat Mizzou, which gives you a chance to go 1-2 this weekend. So you're at 4-2. And for me and Coach Bartman, when I played for him, the goal was always you wanted to go 20-10, right? That was the goal. So it's 2 out of 3 every weekend. But Cade Anderson looks like he's developing into an ace. Ianson had a better outing. Shores, they got to fix some stuff up. I mean, he's got to get better, right, and give you a better outing to start with. And then besides Cowan and Evans, you got to find some guys in the bullpen who are consistent. It's just a revolving door right now, and that's the biggest takeaway for me from a pitching staff perspective.
Okay. That obviously I'm in lockstep with you. They got 2 guys they trust, right?
Yep.
How realistic is it, DeMui, that you can develop guys from this point when you're already, almost the midway point of the season, to become reliable relievers for you the rest of the way?
I mean, I think it's very realistic because to me, I mean, they all have great stuff, right? Or they wouldn't be here. It's just because even when they just have to locate on a consistent basis. You can't walk people. You can't fall behind. You can even see it from when guys struggle. They go down 3-0. They still have the ability to come back and strike a guy out, or they, give up a single and they walk, and then they get out the inning with no damage done. So that right there tells you that they have good enough stuff. They just don't locate on a consistent basis, and they put themselves in difficult situations to where when you're facing a really good, potentially College World Series team in Texas, they're going to make you pay. And the rest of the SEC, as you know, and as everybody listening, it just doesn't let up. It's week in and week out. So I think they have time to turn around, but we don't want to be having the same conversation in 3 or 4 weeks.
Why do you think they're struggling locating? That might be the better question to me. It's like, obviously the stuff's there. Is that Nate Yeskie? Is it the moment being on the road in the SEC? What is it that's causing this?
Obviously, I can't speak to if it's Nate Yeskie. That's not my place. I'm not behind at practice in the pitching lab with those guys. They got more gadgets than you can shake a stick at now. I think some of it is the fact that when you play with those 3 letters on your chest and you're new or you're a freshman, that every test you're going to grow up, whether it's good or bad, right? So William Schmidt is going to learn from this weekend. Where is now realizing, I'm not throwing against LSU guys in the fall and in the winter where I dominate. Everybody's got scouting reports. They know every pitch that you throw. So it's, I think that's part of it. And it's just, until you experience on the road against the top 10 team, until you experience, when Tennessee comes to town in a couple of weeks and there's, 12,000 people at the box, until you get those experiences, kind of under your wing, it's just tough to throw in those situations. And a lot of times, and you learn to deal with the pressure and the expectations, but they're just, with all these transfers and freshmen thrown into the mix, a lot of them they're struggling right now,
Chris DeMui is our guest. Would you move Zach Cowan or Kason Evans to the rotation?
I'd love to, but I just can't. It's if you move Cowan there, I understand the argument, because then you're like, well, you hopefully get 5 or 6 or maybe even 7 out of him in a starting spot on the weekend. But to me, he nailed down game 1. He has the ability to throw twice in a weekend. I understand what Jay was doing on Friday. You want to seal up game 1, but to me, he didn't need to go out for the 9th, and he got up to 50 pitches, and I would imagine he would have been available yesterday if they needed him for an inning. But I think you're up 8-2, and he locks, shuts down 7 and 8. You can throw somebody else out there. You can give up 4 runs, and you're still fine. So and Evans, he's just too dominant to where he can lock the game down. And in my mind, I'm sure he would have thrown 8-9 on Saturday if he felt comfortable putting him in, or they got to the situation to where, they wouldn't have given up the lead, I think, off the top of my head. Because in my mind, I'm like, all right, you got to find a way to get 6 or 7 outs, and you give the ball to Evans for the last 6, but it just never got to that point. They're too good in the pen right now and too reliable at this point in time to where if you take them out of that role, then I just don't know if you're left with anything down there right now that you trust.
Better you say it than me. It has way more credibility coming. I've said it, but it's going to have way more credibility coming from you. Chris DeMui is our guest. Won a couple of championships during his time as a Tiger. DeMui, what is having done both roles? What is the difference in transitioning reliever to starter or starter to reliever?
I think the biggest thing for me was everybody starts in high school, right? And all these guys out of JUCO, wherever they're coming from, they're starters, right? Evans, Rizzi, Schmidt, Ware, all these guys. So, when you go from starter to pen, I think that's the hardest adjustment because you're coming in usually with men on base. Your adrenaline's through the roof. The crowd or whatever situation you're in, home or away, something's going on with regards to the crowd. So you have to figure out a way to calm yourself down, calm your nerves down. And the other thing, too, is you have to figure out how long it takes you to get loose. Like, if you're coming in for the lefty and he's the second hitter, how long is it going to take me to get loose? And the other thing that I got taught early on at LSU, and I learned that in pro ball, too, my limited time in pro ball, is when you come out of the pen, you have to have one pitch for a strike. It doesn't matter what it is, just something. And I'm not trying to pick on William Schmidt because he's a Catholic High guy, but to me that was really evident with his outing, and you've seen that with Ware a lot too. Is Schmidt didn't have his curveball and he didn't have a feel for a changeup. So if you don't have any of that, then all he has left is a fastball. And I know he throws 94 or 96, and you saw it in the home run that he gave up. If those guys can completely dismiss your off-speed stuff, then they only have to worry about one thing. Good college hitters aren't going to miss that, right? So I think the lack of having something that Yesky can call that he has confidence in and the ability to get over is really hurting these guys. So now they're in hitters are in advantageous counts, and they're number 8 for a reason, right? And they just haven't. So to me, that was the hardest transition. Back to your question. Moving from the pen to a starter, to me, it was just trying to figure out a way to calm myself down and realize, like, my goal is to be out there for 5 to 7 innings or however long I can give my team. So it was just in the little things, like how long do I need to warm up? I have more time to go out there, So that was just stuff I had to learn and manage. But I think a lot of these guys are, when you're coming out of the pen for the first time, it's all the emotions, the adrenaline, and what can I count on when I get on the mound, right? What can I absolutely trust to where I can get a ground ball, a strikeout, et cetera? And then a lot of times it's just, you see guys getting hit. You see balls going to the backstop, and it's just they're really struggling right now.
By the way, hat tip to Helen Palmer, who wrote this over LouisianaSports.net. So to Schmidt and the counts, to your point, he gave up the 3-run homer on a 3-1 fastball. He gave up the double on a 2-1 pitch.
Yeah.
He gave up a walk on a 3-1 pitch and another walk on a 3-1 pitch. Like, it's really hard to pitch when you're down in the count consistently. I'm overstating it, but my goodness, like that tells you the story of his day. He was constantly pitching from behind.
Yeah, and it's like I thought Primo threw pretty well this weekend, but he comes in there. I forget when it was. The days are on. He's like bam, 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 strike 1, strike 2, strike 3, and he punches out the first guy. I think it's Saturday. Then he goes 0-1, and then the fastball leaks over the middle, and the guy gets an RBI single. It's just little things. And then, he gives up a triple on a really good pitch. And I think Texas, and Jay may have said it in some quotes, but they had a lot of baseball luck. The ball hits the base, and Jared Jones is playing third, right? And then, then they get a double on a ball that the third baseman hits and then goes past Milam, and Curiel tries to make an aggressive play. You can't fault a kid for trying to end the inning right there, right? He just misjudges it. So, they were just a better team this weekend, and LSU's, they got a good chance to turn around this upcoming weekend.
If you were to make a change in the bullpen, or let me ask it a different way, after Evans and Cowan, who do you like in the bullpen?
I like a lot of their arms. I had a feeling you were going to ask me this. You need 4 more guys, in my opinion. You just need 7 to 10 guys. You need you need a reincarnation of Herring, Ackenhausen, or Cooper. You need that guy.
You need a lefty.
You need a lefty, but they could extend. And
you just named 3 lefties, though, by the way.
Yes. So we need one of those guys, You need one of those guys. And then you need another righty. Well, I would say 2 more righties. I like what Ben showed you. You know, he's throwing 97. He hangs a slider, but he looked good. You know, Rizzi's looked good in spots. Once again, he's another freshman that's learning on the fly. And then I've heard you talk about him, but, you know, Myers from Nickel State. You know, I mean, I would love to be able to figure that out. It's just there's just a lot of talent in there. You just got to have 4 guys, and one of them has got to be a lefty.
What about Jaden Newt?
That'd be great. I don't know if he's, you know, it's good to see him pitching. I know he's obviously extremely heralded coming out of California, and he's been waiting his turn. He's been injured. He looked great in his midweek start. I would imagine he's starting against ULL this week.
See, but that's my thing, Demouy. Do you start him against the Cajuns on Tuesday, or do you hold him for the weekend if you trust him?
Well, I mean, you could always. I know Coach Bertman would do this in the Dayton. And everything's different now, but they kind of handle these guys with kid gloves. But, I mean, he could start and throw a bullpen Tuesday, throw 2 innings. And if you want to start him Sunday, or he's first out the pen Sunday. You know, Chase Shores runs into some problems.
This ain't 96, dog.
I don't know why. Why not? I mean, you can throw 40 pitches. Listen, you can throw 40 pitches on Tuesday.
I know.
You have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday off. Those guys are fine.
I know what you mean. And you're right. No, look, Demouy, I've had this conversation too many times with coaches. The hard part of it now, I remember having this conversation with Maneri when Zach Hess, in 18, they were moving him to the starter role. And I asked him point blank. Remember, Hess had the dominant College World Series run in 17, and they were making him a starter in 18. And I asked Paul, I said, would you consider doing with Hess what you did with Coleman in 09, where he'd start on Friday, and you'd bring him back in the back end on Sunday? And he basically said, you can't do it anymore because coaches will negative recruit you if there's even a perception of abusing your arms. And if that's the case, you'll never get an elite arm again. And so I am very sympathetic to coaches for having to deal with that because you're right, Demouy. Like, what you just described is completely plausible. It's very practical, actually.
Yeah.
But there's a perception that goes along with it, which sucks. But it's part of it.
No, I mean, I understand, and I trust you completely. It'd be interesting if we could pull 8 guys from that bullpen and they're like, look, I'm going to give you the ball at least twice on the weekend. You saw Jay do it this year. I think Primo threw 3 days.
He threw all 3 games against Mizzou.
I want the ball as many times. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to be as effective the second and the third time. I will completely admit that. But I want the ball as much as possible, and if it's not falling off, like, I'll go. Like, just give me the rock, bro. And it may not be great, but I'm going to give it a go, you know? So.
Demouy, I think that's the mindset a lot of the guys have. I don't doubt that at all. There's just factors at play that are different, you know. It's going to be fascinating, man, because you're right. They've got the arm talent. It's there. Got to harness this, man, and find a way to get some dudes that can go throw up some zeros out of the bullpen. They do that. I mean, Demouy, do you agree? Last thing. I mean, what I said in the show open, if they don't find a way to get to what you just said, like they need 4 more guys they can trust out of the pen that can throw up zeros. If they don't find those guys, the ceiling for this team lowers.
100%. Because, well, then you may have to see Cowan get placed into the starting rotation. And, I mean, I think he's great because SEC teams don't see guys like that a lot. You know, right, that change ups any pitch and all that. That's why he's so effective out the pen. But I think it definitely lowers. And I hope Chase Shores kind of figures it out and you know, they make some adjustments. But you gotta have him. You gotta get 5 out of it. You know, you just got to.
Chris DeMui, appreciate it, Demouy. Thanks, man.
Anytime, buddy. Thank you.
Be well. Brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com. Thinking of buying land? Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Why? Because for more than 100 years, they've done one thing: help Louisianians buy land. Think of it this way. If you lived to be 100 years old and every day you woke up and you did one thing, you know the old 10,000-hour rule? What if it was the 100-year rule? That's First South Farm Credit. 1916. All they do is help Louisianians buy land. Buying land is different than buying a house. So you want to go to a lender that focuses on one thing: buying land. If it's 20 acres to build your dream home, 100 acres for that recreational property, maybe you need 1,000 acres for agriculture, maybe you even need to finance your farm equipment. First South Farm Credit can help. So go to firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com. I appreciate Demouy for jumping aboard with us here. We'll talk a little SEC baseball with David Deluchi, the SEC Network, in half an hour from right now. When we come back, football Tigers, what a heater they are on in recruiting. Our guy Shea Dixon told us a couple weeks ago when I think it was a listener that asked, how many commitments do you think LSU might get here in this spring window? And he said 4 to 5. Well, boom, boom, boom. 3 consecutive days, the Tigers pop commitments. We talked about Tristan Keys last week, the number 1 receiver in the country out of Hattiesburg who picked the Tigers. Well, over the weekend, 2 more pledges, Friday and Saturday for the Tigers. We'll give you a thumbnail on each of them when we come back. It's AFR.
AFR.
Well, the rain cooled things off a little bit today, but y'all, it's 78 degrees right now. We were in the 80s yesterday. It is time, y'all. It is time to call River City's 1 Hour Air. It is time for that preseason AC tune-up. Do not go into the winter months in Louisiana without having your AC tuned up. It's like an oil change for your car. You would not drive your car for 10 years without getting the oil changed. You should not go a single year without having your AC tune-up. Remember, if you're part of their maintenance program and their membership club at River City's 1 Hour Air, the seasonal maintenance is complimentary. It's part of your membership. Like, that's why it's a giant reason why I'm part of the membership club. That pays for itself. Then you get front-of-the-line service and membership club pricing on any repairs you need. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Mention the Moscona special, 752-0001.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Talk to David Deluchi here in about 25 minutes from right now. Also next hour, the LSU Tigers were on the football field on Saturday. Brian Kelly met with reporters afterwards. And there was, I found anyway, pretty consistent theme woven into everything Brian Kelly said. We'll get to that here in about a half an hour from right now. The LSU Tigers are on a heater right now on the recruiting trail. Tigers currently have the number 1 class in the country with 9 commits. As a matter of fact, they added 3 commits on 3 consecutive days. Thursday with Tristan Keys, the number 1 receiver in the country. Friday, Dylan Purter, defensive back out of Alabama. And then Saturday, Jabari Mack, the wide receiver out of New Orleans. We spent time talking about Tristan Keys last week whenever he committed. So I want to take a quick minute here and talk about both Dylan Purter and Jabari Mack. So much of this recruiting class, whenever we talk about it, is going to be focused on the Louisiana guys. Said it a ton, but there are 6 players in the top 100 nationally from the state of Louisiana in this 2026 class. It's a bumper crop, so you got to get those guys to stay home. But obviously, you're also going to have to go cherry pick positions of need and players that you want from outside of the state. Dylan Purter is a really interesting one. He is a defensive back, 6'1", 172, out of Booker T. Washington in Tuskegee, Alabama. So he's an Alabama kid, 6'1", 172, and listed as a cornerback. Okay, so he plays cornerback in high school. And when you look at his, and he's recruited as a cornerback. That's how he's graded, I should say. And when you look at the On3 rankings, he's a consensus 4-star, number 339 nationally, the number 29 cornerback in the country, the 14th best player in Alabama. So a good prospect. And I often say it's not just, the star rating or the ranking or any of that stuff. I'm way more interested in who is recruiting you, because that is far more telling. Well, LSU, Florida, Auburn, South Carolina, Arkansas. He's got big-time offers there, and some smaller schools as well. Vandy, Missouri, still SEC schools. Houston, Liberty. But here's what I found most interesting when I started kind of peeling back the layer of the onion on Dylan Purter. Obviously, to go into the state of Alabama and get a guy away from a school like Auburn that had offered is a big deal. But LSU only offered a month ago on February 17th. So in a month's time, he went from getting the LSU offer to popping a commitment. And his primary recruiter, even though he's listed at cornerback, his primary recruiter isn't Corey Raymond. It's Jake Olson. His primary recruiter is the LSU safeties coach. Corey Raymond is the secondary recruiter. That tells me he could end up playing either position at LSU. And here's what I point out. As much as LSU needed an improvement in the defensive backfield, and they did, you have loaded up your numbers there, and you shouldn't expect a big turnover in the secondary after 2025. Follow me here. The guys you know are gone are Jordan Gilbert, who'll be out of eligibility, and Mansour Delane, who's a senior. Those guys will be gone. One safety, one cornerback. Everybody else could return. Among your safeties, Deshaun Spears will be back, Toviano, Tamarcus Cooley, Joel Rogers, CJ Jim Coyley, who's a freshman, Jace Thomas, who's an incoming freshman. All those guys are back. At corner, Stamps, Pickett, Jakeem Jackson, PJ Woodland, Michael Turner, Aiden Anding, Wallace Foster. All those guys are back. Now, of course you're going to lose guys in the portal. No school, no program is immune. You're going to lose some guys in the portal. But the point is, you got numbers in the secondary. So you bring in a guy that's 6'1", 170 pounds, plays cornerback, so he's got those coverage skills, but also can play safety if you want to put some size on him, and a safety with cover skills. It makes a lot of sense, and you're not going to need him to be an immediate impact guy like you may need DJ Pickett to be an immediate impact guy this year at cornerback. So that's a fascinating get from Alabama, but a guy that you can bring in and maybe mold into either a corner or a safety because you don't need him to play immediately. Not that dissimilar from Javen Toviano. Not that dissimilar from someone like I could look at Juwan Johnson when he showed up, corner, star. They moved him around a bunch. Now he's playing quarterback. But anyway, the point is they've shown versatility with a lot of their defensive backs. So Perter commits on Friday, and a day later on Saturday, LSU lands Jabari Mack out of Destrehan. And y'all, we have given a big round of applause to Destrehan over the years here because Destrehan has been good to LSU. I mean, you even look currently with Kalaj Cobbins. We just mentioned Jace Thomas, who signed in this recent class as well. Now you've got Jabari Mack committed for 2026, and you can go back to Justin Jefferson, Ricky Jefferson, Jordan Jefferson, John Emery. There's a long list of dudes from Destrehan who have come to LSU. That pipeline has flourished, and Destrehan has been an awesome supporter and supplier of talent to LSU. And Jabari Mack is a dude that everybody wants. And you go through that bio, wide receiver, 6 foot, 200-pounder, number 82 nationally, so he's a top 100 player, 11th best receiver in the country, 5th best player in the state of Louisiana, and a stacked Louisiana where we talked about 6 dudes in the state in the top 100 nationally. You've now got 4 of the 6 committed. The only 2 that are uncommitted are the top 2. And Lamar Brown and Blaine Bradford, and LSU feels pretty good about both of them. You want to talk, like I just mentioned, about who is recruiting you, who's offered? LSU, Ohio State, Oregon, Texas, Texas A&M, Auburn, Penn State, Tennessee, Miami, Florida State, Michigan, Nebraska, and a partridge in a pear tree. Like, everybody has offered Jabari Mack. Stud receiver that everybody wants, and now you got him committed. And just what I talked about with the defensive backs, it is the complete inverse at receiver because you're losing all of your production at receiver. Aaron Anderson, gone. Chris Hilton, gone. Xavier Thomas, gone. Berrien Brown, gone. Nick Anderson, likely gone, although he could return for a 5th year. The guys you'll have returning, Parker, Watkins, Bill Yacht, very likely Destin Hill, Teron Francis, Phillip Wright, a couple of freshmen. Of those names I just mentioned, the only ones that have a reception, now Destin Hill had 6 catches in his career at Florida State, but the only one with a reception is Kyle Parker. Now, some of those guys may accumulate stats this year, but it's going to be tough to break through. So you're losing all of that production after 2025, and you have this numbers gap because of the transfers. Remember, 2023, you signed Jaylen Brown, Shelton Sampson, Kai Preon, and Kyle Parker. You signed 4 receivers in the 2023 class. The only one still here is Kyle Parker. Brown and Preon were gone after 1 year. Shelton Sampson stayed 2 years. Now he's gone. So all of the guys that would be your experienced depth are gone. So you need to fortify. You'll need to fortify in the next portal cycle with transfers so you have some experienced guys and with the young guys to grow up beneath, as BK has kind of said. He wants that 55% of the roster to be with the high school guys they've recruited. Well, you got to fortify. So you look at this receiver class right now with Tristan Keys, Jabari Mack, Kenny Darby, Ja'Kai Anderson. You got 4 already. And you might not be done there either. And I'm going to tell you, recruiting rankings aren't everything. But when you start to look at the best recruiting classes LSU's ever put together at receiver, you can make a very strong argument that the 2021 class was the best one ever. Yeah, Deion Smith, who was the top player in Mississippi, unfortunately never played at LSU. But Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors, Jack Besh. Those were your 4. Malik Neighbors, believe it or not, was like 150 overall. It's crazy to think. Huh, what a miss. Jack Besh didn't even have a national ranking. But look at what you have right now. Keys is the number 3 player in the country at any position. Mack is 82. Darby's 149. You got 3 in the top 150, including the number 3 and number 82 overall players. And Ja'Kai Anderson's 290. It's like you take a quote-unquote flyer on Besh, who we knew was awesome, but the scouting service just missed it. Same there with Ja'Kai Anderson, who does have a rank. He's in the top 300. So the point is, again, none of these guys have done anything in college, but when you're putting together the rankings and rating a recruiting class, this receiver class could end up being the best receiving class ever that LSU has signed in one cycle. And Jabari Mack is a big part of that. Again, I understand all the cynics. Yes, got to get him to signing day in December. No doubt. You got to get to December. But a heck of a start for Brian Kelly and the squad here, putting this class together. The number 1 class in the country now with 9 commits for 2026. Okay, y'all, it's after further review. Our Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding. Oh, yeah, they do shutters as well. Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back, and you still have Tigers and the pros. David Deluchi recapping the weekend in the SEC baseball in about 15 minutes on AFR.
After further review.
We're brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. Oh, my goodness, man. The rain today was treacherous this morning. Hopefully you survived it all. But, man, you had these beautiful, beautiful spring days. My goodness, it is time, y'all. It is time to get to Clegg's. It is time to get in the garden and just plant something. Take advantage of this gorgeous weather. Get by Clegg's. Their greenhouses are bursting with blooms. They've got spring bedding plants. You want your begonias? They got them. You want to plant a vegetable garden? They got Johnny Naylor seeds. Geraniums, huge flowers that'll add this pop of color to any container. It's at Clegg's Nursery, and they got rose bushes, y'all. More than 80 varieties of rose bushes. Plant them today. Clegg's has the best selection, and they got the friendliest, most helpful staff. They've been around for 60 years. Get by any of the 4 locations. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded. Because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Wrapping up hour number 2, recap the weekend in SEC baseball. David Deluchi here in about 10 minutes. Right now, Muso. Tigers and the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
Slow day in spring training for the former Tigers, so we'll go back to Sunday, and we'll begin with Aaron Nola.
Cali High! That's like the 10th one today.
He's in midseason form too, man. So you might just go ahead and throw out another one. 1-0, so got his first win a day ago. 5 innings, 1 earned, punched out 4. ERA in spring, 1.84.
Hey.
Just get him to the regular season. We're creeping up on that, but just get him to the regular season. He's ready. He should have stayed. Yeah.
We could use him.
We could use him right now. Yep. Jake Fraley, man, he needed this on Sunday. Been a really rough spring for Jake. Should have stayed. 1 for 3, but it was a big one. It was a double. 2 RBI came around to score on it as well. Hopefully, in basketball, you just see one go through the net, get you going. See one fall, man, driving a couple runs. Hopefully that gets him going as they approach the regular season. It's been below the Mendoza line so far here in spring for Fraley. Jaden Hill, 1 shutout inning of relief for the Rockies on Sunday. Perfect, as a matter of fact. Didn't walk anybody. Also punched out a hitter. He steamrolls to him.
You punched a hitter?
Out. Like out.
You knocked him out?
Of the at-bat. Yeah.
Very aggressive.
Look, man.
Probably suspend you for that.
Liven up the game a little bit.
I'm here for it.
Ben Simmons, big night on the hardwood for the Clippers. 8 points. He was 4 of 5 from the floor. And no threes. No. 7 rebounds, though, so almost a double-double.
Okay.
And then Tari Eason, 4 and 2. That's Tigers and Pros.
Presented by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. Y'all, walk out of here tonight. We go get my black Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport. Love it. Drove the Atlas before this. Atlas 3-row 7-seater family SUV. Drove it for a couple years. Realized I didn't need all that space. Cross Sport takes out the 3rd row. A little sleeker design. All the great technology as well. Soup it up with all the extras if you want, but I'm going to tell you their quote-unquote baseline model is still loaded up with technology. It's gorgeous. Fun to drive. Hey, we're getting toward graduation season. Maybe you're buying for a high school or college graduate in your family. Remember, they got the $500 graduation bonus for recent college or high school graduates, and you get all the safety features without the cost. It's South Point Volkswagen. SouthPointVW.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction?
After further review.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. College basketball coaching news. Drake's Ben McCollum leaves the Bulldogs after one season to become the new head coach at Iowa. Minnesota hires Colorado State coach Nico Medved as the new head coach of the Gophers. Second round of the women's tournament right now on the ESPN family of networks. It's just gone final. Oklahoma beats Iowa 96-62. NC State and Texas also with wins today. Week 3 of NFL free agency. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers is still available. ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum.
If I'm the Steelers, I want to lock him up ASAP. What happens if J.J. McCarthy walks the bases loaded in a mini camp, and now all of a sudden Kevin O'Connell's like, hey, we're going to go with Rodgers as 1 and McCarthy as 2. So I'm nervous. I have angst. I have a massive sense of urgency if I am the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mike Tannenbaum on Unsportsmanlike. ESPN's Shams Charania reports the Mavericks will have Anthony Davis on the floor tonight against the Nets. He's been out 6 weeks with a groin strain.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. And now a no-frills ad brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Here it is. You could save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive. That's it. See? Just a good old-fashioned, straightforward ad. See if you could save at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right. Woo!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Musso. And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. LSU and Florida State just about to tip over at the Maravich Center. Round of 32 game there. Kim Mulkey and the squad about a 10.5-point favorite. They have gone live on the broadcast. We'll let you know how it goes as we move throughout the afternoon. David Deluchi, SEC Network, good enough to join us as he does Mondays here to recap the weekend in the Southeastern Conference on the Diamond. Luch, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Biggest takeaway from week 2 in SEC play?
It was very offensive. There was a lot of offense going on. But, the thing is, man, very similar to football. Once you get into conference play, these teams beat up on each other, and you start to realize how competitive the SEC is as a whole. LSU got to see Texas and that atmosphere. Oklahoma also did really well. Both teams winning their first ever SEC season. And it seems to me like the home field advantage is going to play a much larger role this year than we expected.
Luch, of the handful of teams at the bottom of the league, that's South Carolina and Mississippi State, which are both 1-5, and then Florida, A&M, and Missouri that are 0-6, which is most likely among those 5 to make it to the postseason?
I'm going to go with Florida, and I've seen Florida do this in the past. Matter of fact, last year they were in a very similar situation. I think it's some key injuries, especially to their pitching staff, which has them in this predicament right now. A&M, everybody kind of thinks they're going to snap out of it, but I think right now it's a mental issue with A&M. It makes matters worse when they look across the state and they see what the University of Texas and their former coaching staff is doing. So I think they're going to battle that all year. But Florida's got an offense that'll snap out of it. There's some injuries. Liam Peterson, their ace that pitched so well opening weekend against Tennessee, he missed the start. So he was supposed to throw a bullpen today. If you can get him back in there, they'll turn it around. They just had bad luck, man, coming out of the gate playing Tennessee and Georgia. That's not fair. They have Florida State for a midweek game this week, and then they're looking forward. Their schedule gets a little bit easier, so I think they'll snap out of it.
Luch, what do you think about we were having the conversation in the break before we came, and I mentioned LSU a year ago, which started 2-4, and then got swept by Arkansas, so we're 2-7 out the gate, and feels very similar to A&M. And of course, LSU rallied in the second half of conference and made it to regional play. There's a lot to be said about pedigree, and I kind of look at A&M as the same way. There's a lot of talent there, and I think they're going to figure it out. If I asked you today, do you think Texas A&M makes it to the postseason? What would you say?
Whew. Man, that's a great question. As you mentioned, they have the talent to do it. Right now, man, you would have expected that offense, even though they're missing Gavin Crow-Ovac, their superstar sophomore, you would expect the offense to be doing a lot better than what they are. They're last in the SEC with team batting average of 257. They're swinging at a bunch of bad pitches. That is not what you have seen that team the last 2 years under Jim Schlossnagle. So I'm just wondering if they're in their head, they're trying to do too much, they're trying to swing their way out of it. And if you do that, you dig a much deeper hole week in and week out. So I'm going to say right now, I don't see them making the postseason.
Okay. Isn't their hitting coach the head coach?
He is.
Weird,
but
right?
As I think we talked about a little bit last week, the hitting coach that is now the head coach becomes the general manager, the head coach, the pitching coach, the hitting coach. He doesn't have as much time with those guys.
Yeah.
And I think you also see the importance of Jim Schlossnagle and that approach that he instills in his offenses.
Let's look. David Delucci's with us. Let's look at the top of the league. Candidly, a little surprised I am, and maybe I shouldn't be, to see Georgia there at 5-1. What's been your biggest takeaway of the Bulldogs?
Georgia can hit, man. We were worried about them losing Charlie Condon. He hit, 37 home runs last year. Corey Collins, another big thumper. And they just continue to hit. Their offense has been fantastic. Their starting pitching, not so good. But their bullpen has been lights out. I don't think they can last all season long relying on their bullpen. Like, it's grossly lopsided, the number of innings that the bullpen is pitching compared to the starters. And they've come from behind in a lot of those victories that they've had. When you get in the SEC and you fall behind, sometimes Georgia has been behind by 7-8 run deficit. Teams like LSU, anybody in the SEC is not going to let you come back. And so they better figure it out quick on the mound. But the offense can hang with anybody.
I think I know the answer, but I want to ask you about Arkansas, which is 5-1. They swept South Carolina this weekend. I don't think South Carolina is very good, so I'm not sure if sweeping sweeping South Carolina tells me a ton about Arkansas. But what should we know about, or what should we think about Arkansas so far through 2 weekends at 5-1?
So I think what's surprising everybody was early on in the season, everyone knew that Arkansas was going to pitch the ball really well. They were going to rely on their pitchers. We all figured they were going to win games 2-1, 4-3. It's been the offense that has carried them, man. Their pitching staff has not been that great, but the offense has been slugging big time. I would fear Arkansas because they are just a force year in and year out. They expect to win ball games. And now that they're winning in a way that they haven't done in a couple years with the offense swinging the bat, it makes them even more dangerous. And their bullpen is solid all the time. When Arkansas unloads the bullpen, their guys are going to come in and throw strikes. So, yeah, I mean, South Carolina is kind of down at the bottom of the conference, but they had opportunities to win ball games throughout the weekend, and Arkansas always answered back. And that is an offense, man. I'm telling you, they are one of the top offenses in the country, and they'll continue winning ball games swinging the bat.
Couple more for you. David Deluchi is our guest, SEC Network, with us here every Monday. We recap the weekend of the conference. LSU, Texas. What did you learn about LSU this weekend that you feel like you didn't already know?
Learned that their bullpen needs to really come in and pitch in high leverage situations. Non-conference games are totally different, especially when you go on the road in an atmosphere like Texas. Now, they have plenty talent, but to go in there and unload your bullpen in game 2 and really not get any production, I think the bullpen gave up, 7 runs in 4 2/3 innings in game 2. That's not acceptable. They got to go in there and look around and say, this is what I signed up for, because it's not like high school. It's not like junior college. It's not like what most of these guys have faced. And you just go out there and you give it your all. You pitch strikes just like you've done all year long. And if the guys can hit you, then so be it. But if you fall behind in the count against SEC caliber hitters, they're going to make you pay. And I think that was the big difference over the weekend. LSU's hitters did fine, man. They stayed in the ball game. They did everything they need to do. But outside of your starters, you got to find somebody that's going to come in there and really pound the strike zone. Cade Anderson is a bona fide ace.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that I learned. He is legit. Now you just have to find some guys that'll come in behind him in game 2 and game 3.
What about Texas? Learn anything about them that you didn't already know?
Yeah, they figured Texas was a good hitting ball club. Figured they were going to work the count in their favor and attack pitches over the harder plate. They did that. What I thought about Texas's bullpen is kind of how I feel about LSU's now. They just didn't match up good. And so you kind of expect them when the game gets late, those guys are not going to be able to go pitch for pitch. They're not going to be able to make those substitutions properly, but they fared really, really well. And I think the confidence and momentum that they got by winning the series against LSU, that will carry over in the next weekend and the weekend after that.
Yeah, the Tigers have a good opportunity this weekend, home for a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series against Mississippi State, a state team that's 1-5 out the gate, so a really good opportunity. Luch is with us. Let me get a thought on Tennessee-Bama before you get out of here. Bama steals a game where Tennessee kind of threw up on itself in an inning. Any big takeaways either way, pro or con, for either team?
Tennessee's good, man, but they are susceptible to SEC pitchers and SEC hitters. Alabama can swing the bats. They're very good. They've got a deep bullpen. You're going to take your knocks in the SEC. You're not going to cruise through it. There's going to be ball games that the other team just shows up and is more prepared and executes better. And that's what happened in game 1. Tennessee bounced back. They had an opportunity to lose that series, but it's a really good team. It's hard to believe that they could lose almost every single position player and end up possibly being better this year than they were last year. And their pitchers are very good too. So Alabama's also good. I would not sleep on Alabama. I think that's going to be a team that surprises everybody. And right now they look like they're going to be a regional team as well.
He's David Deluchi. All right, when's voting, Luch?
Election day is Saturday.
This Saturday.
The finish line is near. Yeah, we're getting close to the finish line.
Luch is running for us for councilman at large for the city of St. George. See the signs all over town. So, like, what's the first thing you do? Do you get to have, like, if you win, you get, like, an executive order? You get to, like, I don't know, close off streets for parades or something? What do we do? What's, like, our first big act if we win?
No, you know, I'm not going to do much of anything, to be honest with you. I relate it to when I was draft eligible. On draft day, I went fishing. I just got out of the house, got away from the telephone. I'm probably going to do the same thing on Election Day and let somebody call me and tell me what the results are. But I did everything I could. I gave it my all. Just like an athlete, you go 110%, and we'll let the voters decide on Saturday.
Cool, man. Well, good luck, and we'll talk next week. We'll look forward to it.
Sounds great. Thank you very much.
Be well. That's David Deluchi. Cali High, by the way. It is After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. Hey, let me knock out a quick break. LSU football practiced on Saturday, and Brian Kelly met with reporters after. I think there was one giant takeaway I had that was interwoven in like 4 of his answers to questions. We'll get to that in a bit. LSU and Florida State are underway there at the Maravich Center. It is the torrid pace that you would expect with 2 of the top. They just flashed a graphic on screen. Florida State has the 6th fastest pace in the country. LSU, the 10th fastest pace in the country. Right now, 4:24 to play in the first quarter. It's LSU 17, Florida State 10. They've already combined for 27 points with 4 minutes to go in the first. So they're already running there at the Maravich Center. We'll keep you posted. Okay, well, now I got a quick break. Come back, talk some LSU football here from Brian Kelly. It's AFR.
AFR.
I love telling you about Rouse's because when you go to Rouse's, they got everything. Like, what are you looking for? You want seafood? They got you. Rouse's. Want boiled crawfish? In-house boiling rooms at every Rouse's location. They're not brought in from anywhere else. They boil them there in-house every day. Need bottled water, adult beverages, beverages for the kids? Rouse's. Need to go make your groceries? Rouse's. Driving home today and you just want to bring the missus some flowers? Is it just because? Awesome. Great florist and floral department over at Rouse's. Pop on in. Any of the Rouse's locations. They got 70 of them. From Lake Charles to Orange Beach, Alabama, and points in between. And maybe the thing I love most about Rouse's is their commitment to sourcing locally. Whenever they have the Rouse's branded products, they source locally every ingredient they can. The seafood, sourced locally. They got great decades-long relationships with so many of the fishermen in the Gulf. It's Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Oh, what do you know? Street Clothes is going to play tonight.
Oh, are we sure?
Well, that's what Jason Kidd said. Let's go, Street Clothes. Get out there and prove your nickname wrong.
Is this his Mavericks debut?
No, he played. He got hurt in his debut.
Oh, of course he did.
You don't remember that?
No, I really don't.
In his debut after the trade is when he got hurt. He's been on the shelf since. He's missed I don't know, a month.
Of course.
Yeah, Street Clothes will be out there on a minutes restriction.
Of course. Yeah.
Pelicans play tonight as well against the Sixers.
Oh, man, they could actually win that one.
And I'm going to be the only degenerate watching that stupid game.
Yeah, you are.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm going to be watching the Gulf Coast Network or whatever they call it on Channel 22. Probably be sitting outside, might light up a stogie and just watch and wonder why.
Well, I mean, the other part of that doesn't sound too bad. Sit outside. Should be a nice night after the rain blew through.
Yeah, it should be really nice.
So, I mean, you know.
The ladies will be done playing by that time.
Yeah. They'll be on to the Sweet 16.
Yeah. Maybe I'll flip over and check out Street Clothes, see how he's doing. I got to see.
Yeah.
Check out Street Clothes.
Oh, Street Clothes.
Ping pong balls tonight. That's what I'm pulling for. Let's go Sixers. We'll see what stupid uniforms the Pelicans are wearing. They're wearing the Skeletons. They should just wear the red all the time.
Skeletons are great.
They're not great.
They are.
You and Graff are the only ones
They're
like
so
the stupid
good.
Skeletons uniforms. Highlight. What are we talking? What are we doing there? Wear the red ones. The red ones are great. Wear them all the time. At least give me some enjoyment in this awful season.
The red ones are the best.
Yeah. And it's universally understood.
Yeah.
So wear them.
But the Skeleton unis are good, too. I like them.
They stink. I can't believe you like the Skeletons.
I do, man.
You're like me. We're uniform traditionalists.
I know.
We're uniform people. The fact that you like the Skeletons is just a little disappointing. It's very contradictory.
Well, the Pelicans don't have tradition.
I understand that, but it's still a bad look. Just in the context of the NBA. It's like this highlighter, fluorescent, awful purple and green color. Like, it's not your colors.
It's not your colors.
That's the thing.
But I like the idea so much.
Well, if you want to make that your color scheme, then make that your color scheme. And just be highlighter green and purple and black.
No, don't do that.
Well, then stop telling me you like the Skeletons.
I do.
It's contradictory.
Eh.
All right. Let's talk about LSU football. Right, the Tigers practiced on Saturday, and Brian Kelly met with reporters afterwards. And in his 20-minute or so meeting with reporters, I found a theme sort of woven throughout a lot of his answers. And I would like to leave it up to you to see if you could decipher it, but I'll just get to the point and tell you. A lot of what Brian Kelly was talking about was physicality on offense, in particular in the running game. And I know that may sound like a little nondescript, but let me add some color to this. A year ago, LSU was dead last in the SEC in one very important statistic. Do you remember what it is? By a year ago, I mean last football season. This most recent football season. Do you remember what it is? You remember? Dead last in the SEC. And what statistic? Paulie? Squinching his face. Muse? Dead last in the SEC in a very important statistic. Either of you.
I'm not finding it, man. I'm sorry.
Paulie. Got it?
I don't remember.
Dead last in the SEC in rushing offense. Dead last. 107th in America in rushing offense. By the way, Georgia was like 102 overall, oddly enough. They made the playoff.
Ooh.
I know, right? Right. Remember what Will Campbell said before the season? Of course you do. But as a reminder, this is what he said.
Like I said, we're going to run the ball. So, I mean, that's not something we're hiding or, trying to keep quiet. I'm telling everybody right now we are going to run the football. So you can take what you want with that.
Yep, you told them, and I guess they all just prepared for it and stopped you from running the football because you were bad at it. Not you, Will. Will's great. Collectively as a whole. 116 yards per game, 107th in America, dead last in the SEC. So why didn't it work? That's a question Brian Kelly was asked Saturday after practice. Why weren't you able to run the ball a year ago?
We're playing young backs that were learning. Josh certainly was a veteran for us, but, Emery went down with the knee in camp, and, Josh became, he couldn't be the only guy. So we had to play some younger players, and they were learning. From an offensive line standpoint, we had more than anything else the opportunity to be successful there, but it's about committing to it. And I think there's just much more of a commitment to it in everything that we're doing, from, Alex, who is the run game coordinator, to Coach Sloan seeing the importance of what we need to be physical up front. I think it's just a mindset that we lacked at times last year that we've really worked hard at building in January.
Okay. The Alex, of course, is Alex Atkins. Alex Atkins, one of the best offensive line coaches in football, who was the offensive line coach at Florida State, who, by the way, LSU tried to hire when they hired Brad Davis. They tried to hire Alex Atkins. He stayed at Florida State and ultimately became the offensive coordinator. They needed a fall guy last year. They fired Alex Atkins. Florida State's loss, LSU's gain. Now he's the tight ends coach at LSU and the running game coordinator. And yes, having Brad Davis and Alex Atkins on the same staff is a massive benefit to LSU. There will be more physicality in the running game. I don't think there's any doubt. But they also have 4 new offensive linemen coming in. And that is, I think, as big a point to this as any. You see, I think it's fair to ask if LSU's offensive line was actually good at run blocking 2 years ago, or was Jaden Daniels just that magnificent that LSU had a good rushing offense because Jaden Daniels? Period. Full stop. Oh, Florida's blitzing. Jaden Daniels, 85 yards. No sweat. That looks good on the stat sheet, does it? Doesn't it? How much of that was the offensive line? How much of that was, oh, it's Jaden Daniels, which we all know now is Jaden Daniels. If you didn't at the time, but some of us knew from jump. Anyway. It's all on tape. You know that. Anyway, you're replacing 4 offensive linemen. 4 linemen that combined for 171 games played. So you lose a ton of experience. They're very good pass blocking. But clearly, the running game was deficient a year ago. Campbell, 38 games played. Dellinger, 41 games played. Frazier, 54 games played. Emory Jones, 38 games played. Brian Kelly on Saturday was asked about this offensive line, the competition. The way the question was asked was about Braylon Moore, because we've continued to see DJ Chester take first-team reps at center, even though you brought in Braylon Moore to be your plug-and-play starter at center. And so the question was asked, like, is Braylon Moore, or is DJ Chester saying, like, not so fast there to Braylon Moore?
Well, it's competitive. We brought in Josh Thompson, and everyone else is saying not so fast either. And so, look, I know our guys feel the competition. And I think when you create that kind of competition, it only brings out the best in you. It's going to bring out the best in DJ. It's going to bring out the best in Paul, Tyree, Weston. All of those guys are in a position where nothing's taken for granted. There's no Will Campbell out there, right, where there's no question about who your starting left tackle is. They got to make progress every day. And so this is just a different year. And in this year, there's going to be intense competition for those 5 positions all year. And it's not going to, get to a certain date and go, well, there's no competition anymore. We have more than 5 guys that can play in the SEC up there. So the pressure will be on each and every week.
If you get to a point where Braylon Moore and or Josh Thompson are not starting, I think that would be a massive development for LSU for one of 2 reasons. Either it's a massive disappointment that you went and brought those guys in and they're not capable, or it is a massive win because some of the young guys you recruited that were high star ranking guys beat out the veterans that you brought in. And man, that gives you incredible depth and promise for the future, however it plays out. But ultimately, I agree with Brian Kelly because you got 10 guys right now that are vying for 5 spots, and however it would shake out with whatever combination of those 10, I think you're going to feel good about the talent you have on the field. If Braylon Moore's at center and Josh Thompson's at right guard and Tyree Adams is at left tackle, and you tell me Weston Davis wins the starting job at left tackle, at right tackle, and either DJ Chester or Paul Mabengas at left guard, I think you feel good about that. And you still got Karius Curran and Bo Bordelon and Solomon Thomas and Cohen Eccles. You got guys that you feel are SEC caliber guys. They just don't have experience. And if those guys beat out the veterans, I think it's a huge boost for the future of your offensive line as well. And oh, by the way, we talked about Alex Atkins working with the tight ends on their ability to block. It's why you brought in Bauer Sharp. Trey-Dez has his skill set, but Bauer Sharp is basically physically Mason Taylor. Mason Taylor was 6'5", 255.
Mason Taylor!
Bauer Sharp, 6'5", 250. Like, it's a carbon copy almost of the player who you know can put his hand in the dirt and move bodies, but also is athletic enough to catch passes. Well, receiver as well. Who was your best blocking receiver last year? Talked about it all season. Who was your best blocking receiver last year? C.J. Daniels. He plays for Auburn now. Okay, well, if that's something that Brian Kelly emphasizes is the ability to have receivers in the blocking game, last week we're out at practice. We're watching a short yardage situation, goal line situation. They got number 2 in the game. Who's number 2? Destin Hill. Dude's got a knee brace on. Tore up his knee last year at Florida State. Didn't play a lick, but this second week of spring practice, this newbie out there with a knee brace is running first team in short yardage situation at receivers. Why? Listen to Brian Kelly talk about Destin Hill, the player.
As it relates to the depth in the room, I think what's important to understand is each one of them brings something different to the table. He's got good size and he's got physicality. I think he's got to continue to use that as he continues to learn the offense. Once he's comfortable within the offensive structure, he's got the skills to be a very productive SEC player. But early, he is physical, can help us in that perspective. And, again, another guy that's coming off of a knee injury that I think is only going to be better.
Said physical twice. Until he figures out how to play receiver in our system, he can be physical and help us. Yeah. I think Brian Kelly, even if he might not say it at the podium, looks at the fact that they were dead last in the SEC in rushing offense last year and goes, how in the hell did that happen? With 171 starts on our offensive line, with Josh Williams, with Caden Durham, with Caleb Jackson, with Mason Taylor, with all those guys.
Mason Taylor!
How in the hell do you finish dead last in the SEC in rushing offense? That ain't going to happen again this year. And it's evident in the second week of spring football that they're already focusing on making sure that don't happen again. Where they fall, I don't know. I'm not telling you you're going to go rush for 250 a game. That's not what I'm saying. I'm pretty confident telling you, though, the way they're focusing on it very clearly, they ain't going to be last again. All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Muse, how was the engagement event last week at Lee Michaels, the Mall of Louisiana? Did you get all of the stuff that you need? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, huh? Muse?
Sure, Matt.
Got it. There it is.
Sure.
We're wearing him down. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. Thrill her with a gift in the red box. Gents, it's not too early to start thinking about Mother's Day. I mean, you're a little more than a month away from Mother's Day. So remember, you want to start shopping for mom, you can do so over at Lee Michaels, lmfj.com. Gents, springtime is when a lot of people propose, a lot of with the weather getting nicer, outdoor engagements. Maybe you're getting to that point. Loose diamonds, a beautiful selection of engagement rings as well. Remember, at Lee Michaels, you will never, ever, 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 ever find a man-made or lab diamond in their case, ever. Only the finest natural diamonds in the world will they sell at Lee Michaels. 9 locations. Find the one nearest you or log on to lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Okay, it's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Otter will be here in 15 minutes for Otter Locks, although Otter Locks are already posted at louisianasports.net. If you want them for free, it's there. Tons of good gambling content as well. Go to louisianasports.net. There's a sports betting page or tab there. So you can just hit the sports betting tab and get a lot of picks and other betting info and all if you want it there. It's there. Everything always for free. louisianasports.net. Otter Locks is posted. Jimmy will be here in 15 minutes. Okay. The LSU women right now are beating Florida State 31-24. 9:50 to play in the first half. We'll keep you posted, but an early lead there for the Tigers. A lot of points in this ballgame. Again, two of the fastest pacing teams in the country. Really a matter of who can get some stops and D up. So LSU right now leading Florida State. Again, a 3-6 matchup, 31-24. Tigers trying to advance to the round of 16. All right, quick break. We'll come back. Stick around. AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done, or better yet, get over to the garage. That's what Gordon calls his podcast studio, the garage. They converted a garage into a podcast studio. Looks pretty awesome, as a matter of fact. So you can go to YouTube and type in Gordon McKernan, and you'll see some of their interviews, the sit downs that they've done with members of the G team, including Flaugier, a lot of the members of the LSU women's basketball team that are right now trying to punch their ticket to the Sweet 16. The garage, very cool concept. Sit downs with members of the G team. You get all their content there at Get Gordon on YouTube as well. But listen, you can always go to any of their social media accounts at Get Gordon on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. It's all right there. You know, they have a lot of fun. Gordon likes to put out a lot of content. But most importantly, if you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 30 years. Get Gordon and get it done.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team color, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net, powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
All right, Jimmy will be here in about 10 minutes for Auto Locks. Basketball transfer portal opened today, and 3 players already have jumped in the portal. Corey Chest, redshirt freshman. Of course, Corey Chest started 19 games this year, but when Matt McMahon went to a small lineup, 4-guard lineup near the end of the season, Chest lost his starting position and then didn't play the final 4 games of the season with a foot injury. Mike Williams, sophomore, jumped in the portal as well. Certainly saw his production and playing time decrease this year. And then Tyrell Ward entered the portal as well. That's no surprise. Ward announced like literally minutes before the season tipped off that he was leaving the program, didn't play at all this season. So now he's formally in the portal. That's 3. And I would suggest that they are far from done. One of the things that's been interesting, well, I'm not surprised by it, but I do think this is an interesting part of this conversation. You know, and I tweeted earlier today, or I don't know, what'd you say, post on X? What do we say? If we don't say tweet anymore, what do we say? You post on X?
I mean, I still say tweet.
Yeah.
So I'm no help there.
Yeah. Elon's so smart, but it's really difficult to understand getting rid of such a valuable piece of IP. But anyway, I tweeted 3 LSU players in the portal. Can't imagine they're even close to being done. If they're seriously going to invest in this roster, you need an overhaul. No disrespect intended for any of the players, but when you're 3-15, there's just nobody that feels like you absolutely have to keep. And to elaborate a bit more, and a lot of the reaction has been, yeah, blame the players instead of the garbage coach. I want to be clear. I'm not giving Matt McMahon a pass because I think there's some perception there. But you have to deal in the reality of the situation, which is if you were to fire Matt McMahon today, his buyout would be just north of $10 million. If you want to throw darts at Scott Woodward for giving another bad contract, okay, that's fair. To be stuck in the situation you are. Now, I would also remind you that at the time you got Matt McMahon, you also had the threat of sanctions hanging over the program, and it was hard to get anybody to take this job. So you had to give a 7-year deal. You had to give some length to any coach to guarantee them time to get it right. Otherwise, nobody was going to take this job at the time. Like, that's an important note to remember. So the length of the contract was something that you had to give to attract a good coach. But I'd ask you this. Would you rather spend money in NIL and rev share combined to build a roster capable of competing in the deepest league in the country, the deepest league we've ever seen? Literally, we get 7 teams in the Sweet 16. Or would you rather take $10 million to fire a coach and then have to go hire a new coach, which, by the way, how much money are you going to be able to raise to hire a new coach? And then, by the way, also have money to go spend to buy a roster. There just isn't enough money there to do all those things. The most practical thing is to say, okay, LSU was at the bottom of the SEC this year in the amount they invested in NIL in their roster. LSU, I've told you this before, they're at $1.8 million. That's what LSU spent on their basketball roster this year. For comparison, someone asked me on Twitter about Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, I was told, was about $5 million in their basketball roster, finished in the middle of the SEC. That's just some context. So for the people saying, why are you blaming the players instead of the garbage coach? John Wooden could have come out of the grave and would not have coached this team to the tournament. You were in the deepest league ever with a roster that was not capable of competing. So to be very clear, so there is no misunderstanding about where I'm coming from. I am not saying Matt McMahon's the guy. I'm not saying that. He may definitively not be the guy. What I am saying is, I don't know. Because I don't think the best coach literally in the history of the game could have gotten anything out of this team in this league. You just don't have players. I just told you the numbers. You put $1.8 million into this roster when the middle of the league was investing $5 million. You weren't competitive. So what we've heard is, all right, they have the money earmarked. They're going to make a financial commitment in this portal cycle into the roster. And part of that is going to be guys on the roster right now not being back. That's just what it is. So, like, a lot of people melt. Like, if what you're doing is looking for confirmation bias, so you see guys going to the portal and you want to point the finger and be like, you see, all these guys are leaving. No, they need to leave. And a lot of them, candidly, are being told to leave. because they're not going to be back because you're going to go spend money on guys and you need those roster spots. Okay. Can you actually get quality players out of the portal to come here, to take your monies and come here and play? And if you can get them here, then can you coach them up and can you be a viable product? That's an unknown right now. But y'all, when you're 14-18 overall, you're 3-15 in the conference. Is there anybody on that roster you just have to keep? You know what I mean? Like, there's guys, when they enter the portal, you're like, hate to lose that guy. Like when Lance Hurd went in the portal, a 5-star offensive tackle. Now, he hadn't been awesome at Tennessee, but still, 5-star offensive tackle from Louisiana. You lose him after 1 year. It's like, God, dog. You know, Jaylen Brown looked like a stud receiver. You hate to lose that guy. I don't see that dude on this basketball team. I mean, Cam Carter was your whole offense. He's out of eligibility. I could hear an argument for Jalen Reed if he's healthy. I think Victorious Miller has a skill set that's translatable to the next level. I don't think he's a great player today. After that, like Corey Chess went in the portal. I think he played with great energy. But he's a 6'8" post who averaged 6 and 6. Like, are we really sitting here trying to say, like, you need to go all in to keep those? No. You need to invest the resources that the collective has earmarked and whatever portion of revenue share is earmarked for basketball into going and buying a roster that's capable of competing in the deepest league we've ever seen. I hope I'm being very clear. Like, I am not pounding the table today yelling, Matt McMahon's the guy. He's going to figure it out. I'm not yelling. That's not what I'm saying today. What I am saying is they got 3 in the portal, and there needs to be more, like a lot more. I mean, because the roster you had was the worst roster in the SEC. You want those guys back? I don't. Like, till the soil, go buy some players, and let McMahon coach better players to see if he can win. And if he can, awesome. And if you go dump $5 million into your basketball roster, and next year we're sitting here having the same conversation of a team that missed the postseason, fire him. It will be justified at that point. And if you're sitting there today going, well, whose fault is it that they put this roster together? His. Yeah. Not exclusively, because you still have to have money to go spend in the portal, and he had a tiny pool of resources. But still, the high school recruiting, the evaluation in the portal, him, yeah, his fault, yes. He bears blame, yes, he does. I'm not exonerating him. I'm also telling you that you're judging an incomplete project. If you give him enough resources to go put together a roster capable of competing, what does that look like? Well, we should get the answer next year. And I don't think it's worth $10 million to buy out a coach right now, only to have to go put more resources into hiring a new coach and portal and everything. It's just not there for basketball. So I hope that makes sense. It clarifies my stance on this. All right, y'all. We're brought to you by Parish Construction and Roofing. All that to say as well. Like, 3 are in the portal. More are coming. A lot more. And by coming, I mean going in the portal. There are more announcements of guys going in the portal are coming. A lot more. All right. Excuse me. We're brought to you by Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. Hail in North Baton Rouge today, up on 110 by the airport. Hail in Homa on the Hail Strike app as well. If you had hail, call us. We would love to come do a free, no-obligation roofing inspection. We can handle everything for you. From the moment you pick up the phone to call us, all the way through the moment your roof is complete, we can handle everything. Parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. It's Parish Construction and Roofing. go to the website, parishbuilt.com, fill out the form on the homepage, or give us a shout. 364-1007 if you'd rather talk to someone. 364-1007 for Parish Construction and Roofing. All right. Otter Locks next to wrap up. It's AFR.
AFR.
All right, y'all. Good Monday, man. Good Monday. Good way to kick off the week. Of course, if you're back at the grind on this Monday, back getting into the business, rolling up your sleeves, figuring out a way to be more productive, help that bottom line. Of course, I love telling you about Glow Resources. GLO, glowresources.com. If you're not familiar with Glow Resources and you're a business owner, you need to become familiar with Glow Resources. Because what they've done is build one of the biggest and most successful recruitment service agencies in the country. And they're right here in Baton Rouge, and I love it. Listen, if you're an employee, don't call Glow Resources. Like, they will find you. This is not a temp staffing agency. They work for you, the business owner, to find you the employee that's going to make your business more productive. Check them out at GLO, glowresources.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows. ReliefWindows.com. One thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance. Now's the time to get that AC unit checked before it really gets hot. Normally $179, just $79 when you mention Otter Locks. Total Maintenance, 480-1000.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Otter, how are you?
Oh, good, Matt. How about you?
Awesome. How did you do?
Not good.
Oh!
Not great.
Have you seen Courtney Cronin's bracket?
No.
Courtney Cronin from ESPN was a perfect 22 for her first 22.
Oh. Wow.
She got the number one bracket in the country in the bracket challenge, the millions of people.
Patrick Everson, who is from VegasInsider.com, who I spent about a week with in Beau Rivage. He went to about 8 different sports books during March Madness in Las Vegas. And, one of the big stories was, where's the Cinderella? And the one team that really represented itself was University Cal San Diego. And they kind of got hosed down the stretch against Michigan. But all the others aren't even in the games, whether it's Bryant or, High Point was for a while. But, a lot of the Cinderellas and, Sears from Alabama is from Ohio, and the All-American from Florida is from Iona, and Salton Connect. It's just, you wonder if the if the mid-major, if it's going to be, if this is a thing to come. And when you look back a little bit deeper, it's not too far different. But the one thing is just the non-competitiveness of the games, and so a lot of people, like Carl Johnson told us at the Beau Rivage, they flip. They're bet favorites in the NFL, a lot in college football, but in the March Madness on the first 2 days, they're betting underdogs and the obscure teams, and they got it handed to them pretty good.
Yeah. So she finally had her bracket busted with Ole Miss, North Carolina. She had North Carolina beating Ole Miss. So that was the first. That's her only miss so far in the bracket.
How about Ole Miss, man? They continue shooting like that. It's unbelievable. 2 quick picks for you tonight. We got Bradley in the NIT. They have been coming. They beat Drake. They lost in the final. They're 1 win away from going to March Madness, but did not quite make it. And then Denver, without Joker again. They did win last night, but the back end of a back-to-back against the Bulls tonight. We're taking the Chicago Bulls.
All right, where are you tomorrow?
Tomorrow with Mike Anderson's on Lee, just off of Nicholson.
Very good. Thank you, Otter.
All right, good luck.
All right, Bradley and the Bulls. Muse Paulie, thanks. See you tomorrow, 3.
AFR.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.